Okay, we're live here, the Reserve Poker Room on Glendale Avenue in Toledo, and we're here for our 30K in a day, and this is our final table. I'm Vic.
I'm Max.
And we are looking forward to this table. It's been a great tournament today. $300 buy-in. We had 143 entries. We paid top 17. And now these folks are playing for a trophy and $7,500 first place.
Yep.
And we'll get going here quickly with the action.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. I mean, this was a great tournament. I was playing in it a little bit earlier. Vic, you were obviously dealing throughout the duration. There were a lot of players, you know, going through a lot of rebuys, and you know, it was a pretty wild tournament there, particularly in the early levels. But that's part of the fun of tournament play, and so I'll be curious to see how this final table, if it replicates any of that action. Looks like we're going to have some right off the bat here as we get a couple of meaningful hands. Notice that King just called pre-flop here. The action pretty expensive pre-flop, leaving the stack to pot ratios pretty low.
Check, four, and we do the flop because that TV up there. That's why we do it this way. 80. 4 bets 80. Come on. 8's all in. 9 folds. Get a call.
So he's got his king on the flop after limping in. Trent's asking for a count. Typically when he does that, he is going to make a call, but I don't see how or why.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. He's getting about 3.5 to 1 here, you know, a little almost 4 to 1. But in this case, I mean, he's just going to be drawing dead. Best case scenario, you know, is he's up against something maybe like an 8 or a flush draw. But in which case, if it's just a flush draw, who knows if he's even ahead. Ace high would be good in this instance, you know, so this is a tough spot, but he's getting a great price.
Some familiar faces here. You got Sky over there in seat 2 and Trent in seat 4. Got Big Mike over there in seat 7. But we've got, we just continue to draw new players for these big tournaments. We're getting a lot of players coming down from Michigan. Actually had a guy here from Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the word's getting out that these tournaments are well structured. It's a product that's well delivered. He's going to make the call.
Yeah, there you go. And he kind of gave us a bit of an insight into his thought process. He just said he was getting too good of a price. I mean, ultimately he's going to be drawing basically dead here. But where there's a will, there's a way. And he hit the players kind of goading him a little bit.
Yes, right.
10. No 10 on that one.
No. Amazing that he had any outs going into the river, right?
And you know what's kind of crazy, actually, Vic, is I'm looking around at the chip stacks here. So everybody noticed that we're at 10K, 20K blinds here with a 10K big blind ante. Now, if you look at around a lot of the big stacks here, the average stack size has got to be somewhere right around 350 to 400,000.
Yes. Yep.
Not too many big blinds. You know, you're kind of entering a lot of, if there's a single raise in front of you, you got a meaningful hand, you almost want to just get it in pre-flop. Try to capitalize on somebody making a looser call, or...
So the way this was structured today, your $300 buy-in got you 30,000 in chips, and there were 25-minute blinds today. We started at 12:15, and like I said, we were very pleased with the snow outside, because I don't know if that drew more players in, but we certainly, the rebuy or the re-entry action that we saw was pretty extensive for a $300 tournament.
The weather certainly didn't cool off any of the action inside, and the players were pretty eager to get it in. It was a fun tournament to get to play in for a little bit there. And we'll move on to this next one with Trent picking up pocket tens now.
7 folds.
The Spaniard, that's a new player for us, coming down from Michigan.
8 and 9 folds.
Hunter's a familiar face. He's going to let that go.
A couple of cash game players mainly here at this tournament final. Trent and Hunter, somebody who hops in the cash games. Here are the prize pools, payouts for you guys. This is a bit of an interesting tournament. The payout structure is a little bit more smooth across, and what I mean by that is there aren't those massive pay jumps, meaning it's moving from 6th to 5th. It's not like it's $2,000, for example, or 50% more.
Right.
And what that means is that the players should be thinking of chips, you know, as a lot more valuable than maybe the dollar they would get by making one single prize jump.
Yes.
You know, if you're in a more marginal chip situation all in, it might be worth it to go ahead and take a shot because those pay jumps aren't necessarily as big. It kind of incentivizes the players to want to shoot to get to that top one rather than just move up the ladder one spot.
So this is the gentleman I mentioned is here from Colorado.
5 raises, 65 total. 6
He has a moving company in Colorado. His business brought him through this wave. He happened upon us, and I got to deal to him several times. He's great for the game.
9 folds, 10 folds.
A lot of fun. It's too bad we may not see him for another long time until he gets another moving job this direction. But he came right in. I think I even heard him say at one point to Steve, "Thank you so much for the hospitality." Comes in just from out of nowhere, from Colorado. Doesn't know anybody, doesn't know anything about our room, and he has had a lot of fun here today.
That's great. That's great to hear. And while Paul goes ahead and gets us going with this second hand, we'll introduce our first sponsor of the night, Carpet Spectrum, located at 1855 South Reynolds Road, right here in Toledo. Principal owner David, Joseph, and Anthony Lamb, the head of sales. Carpet Spectrum, home of all your flooring and floor care needs. Family owned for 18 years, supplying and installing floor covering, ranging from carpet, luxury, vinyl planking, hardwood, ceramics, and laminate. Carpet Spectrum is home of one of the largest remnant rooms in Toledo and the surrounding area. Come on in and mention that you saw the ad on the Reserve Poker Club live stream. Receive 20% off your next order. That's 20% when you mention the Reserve live stream here as we get Mike, as we find Mike.
Big Mike.
Pocket eights here. This is kind of what I was talking about. You know, this is the players are kind of looking to play a little bit more aggressively, trying to accumulate chips. Means a lot more to finish first in this particular kind of tournament than it does just to ladder.
Speaking of Carpet Spectrum, you want to see an example of their work, you can see it right there on our beautiful floor that was just done several weeks ago. And the camera doesn't do it justice. The room itself is just something to see. People come in and see it for the first time. They're just really in awe. This is a great live stream we have here, and certainly was enhanced even better by this job that Carpet Spectrum did for us on this floor.
Oh, he had 10.
No,
He said he had 7 rebuys with the original buy.
Trent under the gun with King Queen.
He told me he ate.
He did not want to leave.
Yeah, we sent his ass back.
4 folds.
Trent going to go ahead and
I might have
release the King-Queen offsuit there.
just.
Way to tell him. Way to tell him.
Well, he stuck his head in. I know he's
So now the Spaniard with Queen 10. I didn't get a chance to deal to him too much, so I don't have any real insights into his game.
He was feeling frisky.
But he's certainly done something right to make it this far after 143 entries today.
I guess he came with some money or something.
1 fold.
Ron, of course, a very familiar face to us, and he's going to raise with the King 10 of clubs.
I'm getting about 1 premium hand every
So I'm worried about he's going to take a he's going to give her control of the chips.
3 folds.
Going home.
Rich going to go ahead and release again. That's a pretty big, that's a very large open raise there. Kind of reduces the implied odds. Allows for...
And there's our, but keep that up there. But we've got the top 10. This is a payouts here. The next person to go out is going to collect 1,135. We did pay top 17. So there are 7 players that have been eliminated but did cash today prior to this final table.
And what I was mentioning there was, you know, even though Rich is kind of looking down at one of those small pocket pairs that are easy to play post-flop, the problem is on a low, kind of unconnected board, he's going to be put in a lot of awkward spots, and when the pot's already bloated that big, he's more likely to be facing a large bet after the flop. Kind of just makes it a little bit easier to fold those sorts of hands pre-flop. Had he been facing maybe a min raise, for example, it would have been a lot easier to defend against.
For like 4 times.
7 folds, 8 folds, 9 folds, 10 folds. Yeah, very sensitive. 1 is all in.
Terry going to go ahead and move it in here. 15 bigs.
300,000.
Sky behind with queens and Rich with 8s. And if you're rich here, the problem with that particular hand is that even though they're relatively short stacked, everybody's relatively short stacked. Those chips are a lot more meaningful, like I was describing early. So good fold there from the 8s. Obviously, we have the benefit of being in the booth and being able to say that it's a good fold, but I think kind of in the larger sense of what these players are likely to show up with, 8s is a good fold there.
So this is Sky's tournament life at stake here with the queens.
And he will.
He will.
Double through Terry there, leaving Terry a short stack, 100K.
Yep.
5 big blinds, but remember there's a big blind ante, and that big blind ante kind of negates. You have to take that into consideration when the players are thinking about, you know, how many big blinds they have left. 100K isn't really 5 big blinds, it's more like 3.
But there's our chip count. Ron G, 825. Terry K, as you mentioned, now is at 100. Hunter is down there, as well as KB and Sky. But there's a tight race there, second, third, fourth, in terms of chip count at this point.
Tell him what you told me earlier. That's right. That's right.
All right, Pete.
6 folds.
Big Mike here, waking up with pocket 10s.
He called me RKF.
7 raises
I was wondering why
to
you said that
60,000.
earlier.
Notice that Big Mike opts to just raise this time at a smaller sizing rather than getting it all in with 8s.
This
One
for the
fold.
coaches.
Well, he got some comments on that, pushing all in with 8s here.
Can you do me a favor and put your picture?
One guy said, "Is this your first final table?"
2 folds.
But Mike plays a lot of
I
poker.
got my big chips out front.
A lot of tournament
So,
poker. He's obviously a very experienced tournament player.
Yes, he is.
Our Colorado native
Yeah.
elects to release, and Big Mike will take one down. And the tournaments, Vic, I mean, these tournaments are super fun. You know, this is a lot of, you're going to get a lot more action just naturally, based on the structure of play, based on the fact that you have a dwindling amount of chips as compared to a cash game maybe, in which you can be a little bit more selective. Although I will say that if those of you that are out there watching, this might be your first time finding your way onto the stream here. We do normally on Saturday nights host a 5-10 no-limit hold'em cash game. Soon we'll be expanding that. Tuesdays we'll have 2-5 no-limit hold'em. Thursdays we'll be introducing a 5-5 PLO game, and then Saturdays back to the 5-10 no-limit. Those cash games, particularly when we get the out-of-town players, man,
Yeah.
those play fast. Those play very loose. They're very fun to watch.
And that starts this week, and listening to a number of players, there's a lot of buzz about that already. So be sure to look us up here this Tuesday and then this Thursday. There are going to be some pretty big cash
9
games
raises
that we're
65,000.
going to live stream.
10 folds.
And he has aces. Like a king.
1 is all in for 100,000.
Terry gonna go ahead and get it in here with King Queen. Sky folding some of his
3 folds.
I know, yeah, I'm literally
some of
seeing
his
it.
cards there. Trent, ooh, with Ace King though.
4 is all in.
Just looked at his hand and went,
KB behind with jacks.
Right.
And if you're KB here, it's unfortunate, but you just kind of got to get it in here.
470,000.
You've got 10 bigs, a little less when you consider the big blind ante. Not very likely that you're going to be finding better hands than jacks.
KB is another Michigan player, came down. He's got a turtle there as a card protector, so they kept referring to him as Turtle.
See, and part of the thing to think about, too, in KB's shoes is kind of like I was describing it. Chips mean more than money from pay jumps in this kind of a structure. So you have an opportunity here to get a triple up with one of the best starting hands in poker. You kind of just got to roll with it and accept that sometimes you're going to be behind or sometimes you're not going to hold, but ultimately he does go ahead and make the call here. And back to Ron G. Ron G is a pretty easy fold. This can
Yep.
just go right into the muck here, and we're going to get 3 cards up in the air here. 3 sets of cards up in the air here. Jacks versus King Queen versus Ace King.
I need all the hands table, gentlemen.
Vic, I'll take the Ace King.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'll take the Jacks. Just kidding again. I'll take whichever one wins.
Who's this king?
And here we go.
Ryan, the dealer's got this all squared away
2 players at risk.
perfectly. Great dealer, Ryan, putting the flop out.
Queen.
For Terry.
Wow, and what a board here.
Oh, man.
Means no eliminations. Trent takes a dagger to the stack. KB, he's going to be particularly upset with that result, especially if he goes back and watches and see that Skies folds
Yeah.
King Queen, a lot of outs into the muck. He can't hold there. Ultimately, though, he will get his starting stack back in the form of the side pot that he won with Trent.
So you can see Terry wiping his forehead with knowing that he's got new life now after taking that pot down.
After that one, I'm like, ace jack, there's only like 3 people after me.
Under the gun is the Spaniard.
You had to wake up with queens.
See 8 folds, 9 folds. 10 is all in.
All right, Hunter, what do you got there, buddy?
Here we go, Hunter. Good luck, too.
It was definitely the low stack here.
1 folds, 2 folds, 3 folds.
Going all in 215,000. Hunter's got ace king.
4 folds.
Our Colorado native here picking up a pretty queen jack.
Very pretty.
Of hearts.
Half is stacked call. And I can attest that earlier today, that was a snap call for him. And it's interesting to see him.
Things change when the money, when you see the payouts up there and you see the money that you're fighting for. But ultimately, I think a disciplined fold in that instance.
Yes.
It's easy to kind of get sucked into the queen jack of hearts there. It's a pretty looking hand. You might be flipping with some of Hunter's range, but also he was the first one to put a bet into the pot there. You know, especially when it comes all in. If he were to do that with some kind of weak hand, you'd have to think that he believes he can get it all the way around the table.
Nicole Marie saying, "Go Carlos." Seth is watching. Rain is watching. Glenn watching with us. Terry Dale. Shane. Anthony Holt. How you doing there, Big Anthony? Haven't seen you in a while.
Hunter going to go ahead and give his opinion on a couple of hands so far.
Well,
Not one to shy away.
No, he's
9
not.
raises, 70,000, 10 folds.
Giving his opinion at the table. He's a
Opinion.
good sport, though. Everybody loves, obviously, sitting across from him around the table.
Yep.
Most people that have played Toledo poker for a long time
1 folds.
have known Hunter for years.
Yes.
And hold him in very high regard. So.
Absolutely. But I would say his middle name is pretty close to opinion.
The man certainly likes to commentate on. We play all the time together. A variety of games. Love to get the commentary from Hunter. Carlos going to go ahead and chip it in here
6 folds.
over top of the early position raise from Ron G.
7 folds.
Ron G can go ahead and release him. Look at this. You know, it's kind of interesting. Ron G puts a he was the chip leader.
Yeah.
Still is, I think, based on what we saw a couple of moments ago. But you see that pot right there is a great example of this blind structure is quick, and these players are not super deep. Ron G goes ahead and makes a speculative open from the top stack so far, and all of a sudden he gets a 3-bet over top of him, has to fold, and now he's at much more parity with the rest of the stacks.
Absolutely. He did, because that was the second time he's done that. He
Yeah.
did that against that big 3-way hand where he bet out and then had to fold because he wasn't about to call with the Jack-9 of diamonds that he had.
And that's why the strategy kind of has to change. You know, in a lot of online poker tournaments, maybe like some of the larger MSPT, WPT, larger poker tournaments, you know, you get to the later stages, people are a lot deeper, you can kind of make more moves.
See 10 is all in.
This is a 30K in a day.
Yeah.
People did not come here to fold. They did not come here
Right.
250.
not looking to speculate. They're looking to get it in here, as Hunter does with the ace-10 offsuit.
3 folds. 4 folds.
Oh, and Hunter is going to be in a very precarious situation here, assuming that Carlos goes ahead and releases. KB, I imagine here, is going to have a pretty easy decision in the form of a call.
Yep. Easy fold here for Mike.
Teal fold. And
130,000, 7 folds. 8
Oh,
folds.
Ron now has sevens.
Use sevens here. This is a decision. This isn't as easy as it looks for some. Some might say this needs to go right into the muck. But again, these players are just not deep enough. They could be getting it in with a wide variety of holdings, which Ron could be ahead. If I'm Ron here, I'm actually a little bit more worried about the call from KB than I am the shove from Hunter. Hunter can have a wide variety of things when he gets it in, but
Yeah.
when KB has to call it off, he's got to have a stronger holding. Here we go to a river. Hunter for his tournament life.
He's got a little change back. Hunter does.
He gets a little change. Chip in a chair. Who knows if it'll come to that? Here comes the flop. Oh, and a 10.
And no diamonds.
No diamonds for the man. Wow, and Hunter's going to go ahead. Take out the first player, KB.
Yeah. And Turtle.
Taking $1,135 down. And that'll project Hunter
up from here, fellas.
up to that upper middle portion of the stacks now.
Yeah. Hunter, who was at the bottom, now 525,000. Ron has taken a dent here from his 800+ thousand, now 660. Trent and Terry are low stacks, and we are now down to 9.
He survived like 9 or 10 all-ins with 8.
I've seen 4 of them.
Yeah.
Winning these.
Hunter now in the big blind as we start with Terry.
1 fold. 2 folds. 3 folds.
Trying
Okay.
to go ahead and rip it in here with Queen 9 suited.
250,000. 4's up. 5 folds. 7 folds. 8 folds. 9 folds.
Oh, boy.
Back around to Hunter, and here we go.
10 calls.
Looking to continue the run good here.
Right.
Trent with 1 over. Hunter with no spades. Hunter looking good to eliminate the second player of this final table. To a flop we go. And 9 in the window. There is a spade. And how about the king of spades here? The absolute world for Trent. Oh.
Wow.
Oh my
Hunter.
What a turn card we just saw. And look at Hunter
Yeah.
go.
Look at him go. 1,285 for Trent. He's going to go out of the cage and collect his his 9th place. We're now down to 8, just like that and
I
that.
had 2 big bluffs. What you say down there, R. Kelly?
So
Hunter.
Nicole Marie, who says go Carlos, she's also commented that he's a disciplined player. So Nicole must know Carlos well. We're getting to know him, and we like what we get to know.
That's hard to say it. I had 10-9.
Here we go, Hunter. The 10 is a lucky card for the man on this evening as he eliminates his second player. We move down to 8
3 folds.
at this final table here, 30K in a day.
5 folds. 7 raises 75,000.
A large open here for Mike.
9 folds, 10 folds.
Just going to go ahead and take the blinds down. And at these large blind levels, a single round of blinds is a meaningful amount to these players. Aaron's going to go ahead and get it shuffled up and ready to go.
Where blinds are at 10 and 20 with a $10,000 ante. The blinds had just gone up a minute ago, if you heard that beeping in the background.
Be sure to follow the stream in the Reserve Poker Club, wherever you
Three
guys
folds.
get your stream content, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube. All the highlights from cash game and tournament action available on the YouTube channel, live at the Reserve.
8 folds.
Facebook page is where we send out all the notifications, all the alerts.
Whoa.
10 folds.
So Travis, there were 143 entries today. This was a re-entry tournament.
2
We had
folds.
re-entries. Well, let's go and watch this hand.
This is going to be a tough. This is a tough spot here, Terry. Obviously, it folds around small blind versus big blind.
Why is it every time I get something good, you gotta wake up to something better?
Terry gets an ace and decides to get it in. It's just unlucky that Sky here with a premium, and especially when you consider that it's small blind versus big blind. Ace Jack is like aces
Yes.
in those positions.
No help to Terry here. There's an
Couple
ace.
chop outs. That's not one of them here as Terry's eliminated. Sky going to go ahead and take down a monster pot. And these players are dropping like flies,
They
Vic.
sure are. Boy, you'd think Paul was in there dealing the way they dropped it, but
Been waiting all this time.
yeah.
This stream could be over. This could be the fastest final table stream we've had yet.
So Terry's going to take down $1,815. We're going to move down to 7 players now. This is the final table of our 30K in a day here at the Reserve Poker Club here, Glendale Avenue in Toledo. We had 143 entries, $300 apiece. There was no add-on at the break in this particular. And if you wanted to, if you got busted out in the first 8 rounds and you wanted to re-entry, you had to pay $300 again.
Make sure you stay on the same lasers.
And we did have a number of people that brought several bullets with them.
5 folds.
Yes, there were a number of bullets. I heard some rumblings that maybe there was even a couple players in for
7 folds.
close to 2 digits. Goes to show you
8
how
folds.
goes to show you how fun the tournament can be, what the player type can be, you know,
Yeah.
when you get into these tournaments. So again, it's a fun atmosphere. The players love when we get to put on big tournaments like this.
2 folds.
I'm sure at some point we'll be showing you guys some promotions for a few more tournaments we'll be doing
Yeah, we've
over the
got
next
some
few months.
great things coming up here.
Coming up here's a flop.
I don't know what that was, buddy.
Ron G out flopping the Ace 7, sharing diamonds.
2 checks. 9 is all
Wow,
in.
and Ron G just gonna go ahead and
Go
rip
ahead.
it in
Five
here.
hundred
Me
and
oh
seven
my.
Yeah.
The man did not.
2 folds.
Close.
3 folds.
The man did not come here to slow play.
No.
About a 3x pot overbet there. Here you got the Black Friday Mystery Bounty Tournament. $25,000 guaranteed. Black Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, $240 buy-in, starting around the middle of the day. 40K starting stack. And I like that. The bounties are worth anything between $50 and $2,000.
So you take your bounty chip and you go up to the barrel. There's going to be envelopes, and you spin the barrel. You might get an envelope that's got $50 in it, or somewhere in between that and $2,000. So it's a pretty exciting. If you think today was exciting, a lot of high energy in the room today. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is just going to be a lot of fun in here. Do whatever you can to get in here. Convince your family that you spent the whole day with them on Thanksgiving, and that's just enough, and you want to go play poker.
Or bring them in. Why not get them introduced to the game?
That's right.
2 raises 65,000.
Tournament poker, I think, can be a great way to get people introduced to poker. You put a set amount into it. You can only lose that set amount. It's not like a cash game. You have to worry about people constantly pulling out more and more funds you can show up with.
I expect a re-raise here from Carlos. Not sure what that
I'm
was.
not sure what this is.
Flat raises to 290,000.
He must have said raise. We'll go ahead and put the squeeze in. If you're Sky here, this is kind of a hand you can just kind of release, looking to steal from the big blind, looking to steal from the blinds here on the button. It's not a hand you want to be putting a big one in with.
Puts enough pressure on him to get him to lay it down. So Travis, I don't know exactly how many rebuys there were. I can get that information for you. We had 7 tables.
That's the shitty thing is like you're like, ah,
7 tables going very strong for most of the day. So I think Jim's going to come in here and make a ruling on that because Carlos had put the call out and then said raise. Then his only option then was to make a min raise there, and it did not get caught.
Yeah, it
But
didn't.
that's the rule.
Watching it happen, I mean, I didn't even hear the raise.
Yeah.
You know, it was just it was a very peculiar situation. Nice to
So I
have.
said raise, but I grabbed
Yeah,
my
but you put
chip.
Throw your chips back and then you went back up.
You put the call.
Like this,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And then pushed it forward, but it was in front of you. If you did it back here, it would have been legal, but you put it in front of your cards.
8 raises,
It was out- it was
60,000.
out there.
So the Spaniard now has pocket queens.
If they're north of this
9
box,
folds.
yeah.
He's going to raise to 80,000.
Hunter going to go ahead and kind of call here in the middle.
Yep.
Don't blame you.
See, and the thing about doing this is a lot of people would tell you
Calls, 3
you
folds.
shouldn't cold call in these early middle positions because you kind of set up squeezes, people raising to try to take down the raises in the middle. But when the players are short like this, you're not going to get a lot of people that are looking to bluff squeeze, meaning they're not going to be raising as bluffs too often. Means you can kind of comfortably call and look to spike something. And holy wow, look at this
Wow.
flop.
8 checks.
My
The
goodness.
Spaniard
And he checks it.
flopping top set. Hunter, middle pair and a flush draw. He's just going to go ahead and rip it
Gonna
here.
rip it in.
2 folds.
Well,
Snap call
overbet.
from the Spaniard.
And here we go. Hunter once again with the potential to take somebody out here. Just for everybody watching, it does say all in front of the ace-9, but it is in fact the queens that is all in
Yes.
and at risk against the middle pair nut flush draw of Hunter here.
Hunter almost half his stack here.
He'll take an ace too.
And here we go. This is a massive pot, setting up a dominant chip leader for one of these two players.
1.1 million. No
No
help.
heart there. No heart there for Hunter.
Wow.
Top set takes it down.
So now the Spaniard is going to be, there's the payouts coming.
I'm never folding
We got a dealer change coming up here. Spaniard now with 1.1 million. Ron 750,000. Sky 640. Carlos really improved his position here, 625,000, and now Hunter's back down to 310 after taking 2 players out here. We are at the final table of the 30K in a day. And I'm not familiar with the Spaniard's play. We'll see what he does with this chip lead. We have some insights in somebody like Mike T or somebody else like that, what they might do with that in terms of applying the pressure. And but we're going to learn, see if we'll learn from Hunter. I mean, learn from the Spaniard here.
Raise to 60. 63 folds. 65.
Sky with a very playable 9-10 suited here.
Fold.
Carlos
7.
being patient.
Big Mike in the small blind here. Going to go ahead and fold. So I don't imagine the Spaniard will be defending. In a round of blinds and ante for Sky as he takes it down.
Keep lying on him, we'll call you Cisco from now on. Or Kelly Light.
Sky, he was on the feature table of the
I'm trying now.
The
last
100
big tournament, the 100K.
The 100K.
Hannibal
He and the
Buress
2 young guys
kinda look like
chopped 3 ways.
Oh my God, oh boy.
I think it was
Wow, you trying to make friends fast.
13,000 apiece.
Oh, Boris.
We about to fight.
And then they played it out for the trophy.
He's funny, but he's not a handsome man.
Sky here.
Do me Hannibal Buress, really?
At least he didn't give you a
I
Bill
mean,
Cosby
it's
joke.
better than.
Gonna
R.
re-enter
Kelly,
the pot.
don't you think? I want to pee on you.
Pocket tens.
It's got nothing to do with it peeing. It's got to do with all white.
Oh.
He's talking about the white outfit.
R. Kelly wears all white.
Oh,
The all white, step in the name of love.
Chubby,
doesn't
dark
he
skin.
wear all?
He just got glasses.
No,
And we black.
no, I mean, they have party, they have all white parties, R. Kelly parties.
I don't know
They wear,
much about
they wear
Kelly.
white suits, white dresses, all the women wear white suit, or white dresses.
What I learned about R. Kelly was from Chappelle.
Pale show.
Spoken like a true white man.
Ron G in the big blind here.
I got your back, dog.
Those small pairs.
I hail from Spain, so.
Yeah.
Notice here that
Yeah,
Ron G is going to go ahead and complete with his small pair. Rich in an almost identical situation earlier. Didn't. Just kind of goes to show you how different the players can play, can approach the game.
Yeah.
Check.
Pantera.
That's a little different.
That's 65,
That's a little
53.
different.
But then I'd go from like Charlie Hooker or Steve Ray Vaughan, Rush.
I wish I would have
Call 65, 59.
I know you've been waiting. You're like, this is your hand.
Yeah, I mean,
You didn't see the trap laid out.
well, I mean,
So a bet from Sky, a call with
Jack.
from Rich with the ace.
Last time you did that, you checked dark and flop for that too.
C2 bets 110.
Oh. Why didn't you just go on and flop, man?
325.
Did Sky just say, how can I fold? Is that what he said?
Yeah, this would be, I mean, you would have to be giving Rich a lot of credit for craftiness here. Something like 9-10 of hearts, 6-5 of hearts, 6-9 of hearts, but would he even play those pre-flop? And then on top of that, Sky has the 10 of hearts. I mean, a lot of the bluffing combinations that he's hoping Rich would have here and have involved the 10 of hearts, so good fold from Sky there. I think it's probably an ambitious turn bet, but at the end of the day, oftentimes it'll be better, it'll pay more to be aggressive than passive.
you know,
Well
suited,
played, well played.
you know how much more suited gives you?
What?
You know, suited doesn't give you a lot more.
And I believe Rich did show. Hunter was giving his opinion on it being not suited.
You're not three betting, you're shoving.
And what I want to 10 on.
Continues to give.
He's enthusiastic about poker.
He is.
C2.
Start with Sky.
Big dummy.
I'm betting turn. Check.
Yeah, no.
Well, you gotta
I would have saved 100.
Here comes Rich.
C3. Raise to 70. C5. Fold. C7. Fold.
On the Jack 4 here from the
Fold.
Spaniard.
C9. Call. C10 fold.
Hunter gets out of the way. Got 10-4 of spades.
Alright, we are heads up.
There we go, heads up to a flop.
C9. Check. C3.
Couple of overs over Rich's eights. A gut shot there for Ron.
That's 75.
Rich will bet here, looking to deny equity from a hand like Ace-10, Ace-Jack. And I like this raise
Yeah.
from Ron G here. I like it because he's drawing to the nuts in he's drawing to the nuts in the form of a 10.
185.
But he double blocks the queen, which is helpful. He blocks ace king, or excuse me, he blocks king queen. And this sizing puts a 9, pocket 8s, even ace highs in super awkward situations, and you kind of...
Third pair.
So he takes it down.
Ace six.
Good play there by Ron.
Mine's the top, but not the fourth.
The other benefit, too, is that if Ron did have a hand like a queen, because these players aren't super deep, you would kind of want to look to play on a more aggressive route, because if you just continue to play and flow through a call and then a check on the turn, that allows Rich to kind of check back a lot of the hands that you're dominating on the turn. And when you lead out on the river, that's going to look real aggressive, real strong.
Oh. 7.
On jacks here.
Big Mike with the jacks. Big Mike, I've been seeing him on a lot of feature and final tables.
Yes.
Raise it.
We're very familiar to us here.
And I wonder if the players are kind of taking note of, you know, Big Mike's doing a lot of different stuff with his sizing. Here we've got 90K. Earlier we had 70. Earlier we had 80. Each with a different kind of hand class. Eights. He just went all in. But here we go. He's going to get
Snap call.
an all-in over the top from Hunter. A snap call from Mike, and Hunter is at risk once again. Hunter, man, he's been up, down, all over the place since we started.
Yeah. And all day, really.
And it started with a run good in a spot very similar to this. He actually had less equity than he does now. Let's see.
Jonathan's taking the
See
time
how
to get the
this
pot
goes.
right. Get the picture right for us.
Hunter all in and at risk. Ace-9 of spades versus the pocket jacks of Big Mike. To a river we go. Oh my goodness. Hunter just
Wow.
cannot seem to miss on some of these flops. And there we
Oh my
go.
goodness.
Carlos folded one jack and
Wow. Up and down the roller coaster here
down
for
the
Hunter.
roller coaster. And when you're at the final table, that's definitely a place to be running
Yes.
hot, as Hunter is doing right now. Big Mike, it's going to kind of cripple him here. That's part of the volatility of playing tournament poker.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the luxury of waiting until you have the nuts. These players are going to have to mix it up, especially as the blinds start going up here. I think we have 25-minute levels. Is that right, Vic?
That's correct,
25-minute levels, and those levels, they jump up pretty quick
C5.
in terms of the actual chip denominations that go into the middle.
Under the gun, Carlos picks up queens.
Raise to 60. C7.
Mike, jack 7 of diamonds. He's going to fold that.
Fold. C9. Fold. C10. Fold. C2 raises.
This guy's gonna go. This guy's gonna go ahead and call out of the small blind, and Rich will complete. Three ways as you hear the blind timer kicking down.
C3 check.
We'll be moving up after this hand.
And Rich hits 2 pair here.
Just the ugliest flop for Carlos's specific hand here.
That's 75. C2 fold. C3. Raises to 250. 250,000.
Richard likes to raise the flop here. Looking to get it in against flush draws. Worse ace X types of hands. Carlos should have a pretty easy fold here.
Particularly with his discipline and experience, at least the level that we've seen him play at so far. You can see, you run into players all the time that are less experienced or less disciplined, and they get married to a hand. They think this is the one. And, you know, even with a board like that, they'll make the call. But, and I think Carlos didn't bet himself too much out of whack there in that case. So he raised to 60, I believe it was, pre-flop. Of course, he was under the gun. And then from the check, he bet 75,000.
Yep, and it hurts. It sucks.
It hurts,
but ultimately,
yeah,
it's a a decision that you kind of just have to come to, particularly when you consider again that worst case scenario, you're most likely up against a flush draw, and 35% or so of the time, you're going to be losing that hand. Rich going to go ahead and give a walk here to Carlos. The 6-4 offsuit.
Everybody at any level, but particularly at this level, loves a walk.
Everybody loves a walk. That's, especially when you're holding the 9-3. A walk is probably the best outcome you can hope for, barring a bunch of limpers in front of you and flopping some sort of flush or trips. But we'll move on to the next hand here, Jonathan. Getting us ready to go. Nanji gonna look down at Ace King.
Raise announced from Ron.
Raise to 150. C10 fold. C2.
Oh, and here we go.
Here we go.
The oldest tournament flip of them all.
C3 folds.
Coming up here.
This guy's going to put his tournament life at risk here with his queens. Not a big risk, but it's going to put it all in, and Ron asking for a count.
Ron should just snap
And
this
he's
off
just gonna
here,
make
and
the
off to
call.
a river we go.
Yep.
Sky, all in and at risk. Pocket queens over the Ace King.
Really?
Which would you like, Vic?
You would just have it on me? Are you lose to it?
I guess I would, if I were sitting in Sky's spot, I would like to have the queens. I'm not,
There you go.
but
Would you like to change your answer?
no. I mean, yes.
The man has conviction in the queen. If it's coming now.
Oh.
Unfortunately for Sky. Again,
So Sky's going to go collect 2175. We now are down to 6 players. Our first place prize is $7,065, plus a very handsome trophy. We'll be showing that to you very shortly. Mike T is now our low stack. Ron G now takes the lead. He had the lead coming into the room. Now he's taking it back again, 1.2 million.
we're seeing a bit of a pattern, a bit of a theme emerging here at this final table. The best hands are just not holding when it comes to
C10 fold. C3
this particular final table. Again, that's part of tournament poker.
fold.
The swings, the volatility.
Raise to 75.
75.
Big Mike going to
Big
go
Mike.
ahead and chip it in here. Ace-9 suited.
Yep.
He's got just under 10 big blinds. Pretty standard, facing a button open. And we are going to be going to a river here. Ace-Jack versus Ace-9 suited.
Now, Big Mike's tournament life at stake. And you mentioned earlier how quickly we were seeing players drop. It does seem like quite a pace.
Again, these players are not super deep. I mean, even when the chips start to consolidate, I mean, look, the chip leader is only 50 big blinds deep. That's really not a lot compared to some other tournaments. Creates a lot of action.
Now a 9.
Big
and
Mike
a 9
looking for a
only.
9 on the river here. We'll do it. Good game to Big Mike. He's going to be, as you can see, a little upset about the way that he was.
But he is going to take home 6th place there. 25.55. The next person out will be collecting 31.45. The coveted first place is 7,065. This was 30,000 in a day. It was a guarantee, and we exceeded the guarantee.
And here we go. Here we go, Vic. I mean, we've only been live for about an hour now, and we're from 10 to 5.
10 to 5. Yeah.
And here we go.
Bad boy.
I already know what it. I still don't want to.
Ron G, I like it. The man's a gangster. He says, I don't want to chop.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't
Right.
No
Yep.
chopping going on here.
Yep.
I like it. Let's play this thing down. Come on, Ron. No gangster is going to fold the Doyle. The Brunson. 10 deuce. Put us in there. And he does indeed. Hunter going back to look at some numbers. Hunter trying to look at what a chop would be. But right now we're focused on a flop here. Queen Jack 7.
Checks.
No, I think
Take 3 bet 75.
75,000 bet with his top pair.
C9 fold.
Ron gets out of the way.
Button 68.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us in this final table here. 30K in a day. As Max mentioned earlier, typically on a Saturday night we're doing a big cash game. We will be not only getting back to that, but we've got some more nights coming up every week for some big cash games, live streamed. This is a big event for us, so we decided that we would live stream this. We do have some cash games going on in the main room. Got some pretty competitive high stakes, or I mean some active 2-5 game going on, and then there's also a PLO game going on right now. If you're out there and interested in running over here, there's still plenty of time to get into one of those games.
We are three-handed. C9. Check. C10 check. C5. 75. That's 75.
And Ron G here going to float with 2 overs. Backdoor straight draw. Not the card he was looking for.
No.
C9 checks. C5.
Got to imagine Carlos going to keep the pressure on here. Although there was no pre-flop raise. Blinds are currently at 15, 30, and 15.
It's like a big one.
Sure does.
It is just about pot here. Is Ron G thinking about doing something?
Oh.
He's not. It looked like for a second there
Yeah,
as we got the scratch of the beard and the
Yep.
shuffle of the chips that maybe we were headed down all-ins row, but instead.
So Ron is still our chip leader with 1 million. Rich at 980,000. Carlos 860 and the Spaniard 965. Hunter's got the low stack. He had come in pretty low, but boy, has he had quite a final table here.
Hunter has been running very well, but he's still got to fight back from the little stack right now, although I will say that the stacks are a lot more at parity and the play is a little bit deeper than what we were seeing at the beginning of the final table. I don't imagine that'll affect it too much. I imagine the players will continue to kind of play.
Well, and how strong is a hand of ace-7 of diamonds with 5-handed than it was when they were 10-handed?
Yeah.
Under the gun, he's going to make a raise.
Playing shorter-handed always kind of introduces a lot more volatility. The hand, the relative hand strength goes soaring. Rich here. He's been running fairly well himself at this final table. He's going to go ahead and outflop the ace-7 suited. Rich now open-ended. Carlos picking up a gutter. Rich will continue betting. And Carlos here has raising chips. We'll opt to go ahead and just fold.
So he let out with that action, but wisely discovered that he was behind in the hand and did not stick around. This is our chip count again. Rich now takes the lead ahead of Ron.
Rich at the chip lead. I mean, Rich is still playing less than 40 big blinds.
That's what happens when the turn comes.
That's that. We'll play for stacks. We'll play for stacks. Going over C5 door big blind.
What is it, 30?
30 and 15. C8.
Here comes the Spaniard.
Fold. 10. Fold. C3.
We'll battle the blinds here,
Fold.
but he's just going to lay it down.
C5 into 5. Right now, C3.
To me, that feels like an interesting laydown. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, King 8 offsuit's going to be tough to play.
No, I would have raised.
Out of position. Again, the players are kind of, you'll see a lot of players tighten up. This is kind of the time where you could start to see somebody like Rich or Ron G really really break away with this thing. Put pressure on those two middle stacks that are kind of looking and waiting for Hunter to bust, as Hunter's the small stack here.
Right.
Raise to 65.
And again, like I said, chips in a structure like this are super valuable. That's why you would expect to see Rich and Ron G maybe be a little bit more aggressive, look to accumulate, and continue to build on the chip leads they already have.
Call 65.
All right.
Rich in this case picking up a
Alright, we are 3-handed to a flop.
what 5-handed will seem like a major premium in King Jack.
C5.
He's outflopped by the Spaniard.
C8 bets 50,000. C3.
And with a jack, an overcard, and a spade working in his favor.
Oh.
Rich is going to go ahead and call.
Alright, we are heads up to a turn. C8. Check. Check.
This is going to slow Spaniard down. This is a good opportunity for
Check, check.
Rich to start turning his hand into a bluff. Rich obviously blocks King 10.
C8.
The ace is much more favorable to him.
First one's
You
good.
check that down.
You read me.
Spaniard
And I think
shows the winner.
The other thing to consider too is what we've seen from Spaniard doesn't really lead, I think, anybody to believe that he would be taking a shot with dry spades on a board like that, knowing he's going to get called a lot.
Josh Black says it's Murderer's Row at the final table. Hey, look at this, everybody. Take a screenshot of this. This is going to be great for us coming up here, the Winter Classic Tournament Series, December 5th through the 11th. This is pretty exciting, Max.
It is. Yep, we're going to be looking at a $50,000 main event there, December 8th through 11th. $100 buy-in. They made it extra affordable for everybody. Top 12% advance to day 2 to be held. I think that's a Sunday the 11th. $1,000 double bag bonus, but we've got a double green chip bounty, a 10K, and a PLO event as well.
Yes. Kind of our fall classic, you know, had a little something for everybody leading up to the big event, and we're going to try to do the same thing here with the Winter Classic. We had great turnout for that, and we just continued to see new faces. That fall classic all week, kind of looked at the numbers of the people coming in and the people that were registering for the first time in our laptop at the door, we had 163 buy-ins for that $100,000, and it was just it was a great overall week. It was just fantastic, and we saw a growth of new players by 10% during that week.
Yeah.
So we're continuing to see new faces like we are here tonight.
And our producer just had a word in our ear, Vic. It was actually 763 people.
That's right. Yep.
For that 100K main event. I mean, just an incredible amount. So.
Phenomenal.
All right, we are heads up to a flop. Check. Did they check?
Well, this could be a who bets it at first.
And Ron G picking up spades and a gutter here. I imagine he'll just go ahead and bet. Look to get a lot of the queen highs, jack highs, king highs that are beating him out of the pot here. Ron G, the gangster, takes down one there.
He's going to like that. The gangster from Murderer's Row.
There it is.
Yeah.
Man, it's too quiet in here. I like it when they're out there.
Low commotion.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Hunter.
A shout out though from Hunter's dad, Randy. He's watching. Says, "Take it down, son. I love you." Hunter certainly grew up with poker around him probably since he could walk, and he's been around this game for a long time. As you mentioned earlier, he's very well known among the players in not only Toledo but basically Northwest Ohio and into Michigan.
Oh yeah.
He's got a big fan group just in his dad alone.
Hunter going to go ahead and complete here. 8-4 of clubs. Bottom pair there.
So we're getting just a pause here in the action. I think some kind of an instruction from Jim. Typically it's something technical in terms of putting the cards in the right spot.
Hunter going to go ahead and bet here. Look to protect his 8. But he got called. It looks like Rich is floating.
And Hunter's going to take down another pot here. The roller coaster of Hunter Cole here at this final table. Up and down, up and down. But really, I'd seen his stack a couple hours ago, and he had his tournament life at stake several times a couple hours ago, but now here he is. Hoping to get to climb the ladder of chip stack so they can get that $7,000 prize, including is that the trophy? There's the trophy.
There it is in the back.
In the back, there's our trophy.
We get a little zoom in on it.
Great work by our production crew here. getting a look. I know when we get down to heads up, that'll be right there in the middle of the table. We'll get a better look at it then. But
I mean, it's my company. You can
that's
be
what's
gonna
at
pay
stake.
both our salaries.
8 folds, 9 folds. Construction? C10.
No, I own a moving
Hunter picking up
company.
queens here.
Storage and freight.
Cool.
Then raises 80,000 total.
So is she like
3
COO
folds,
or
C5.
CFO?
She's just the wifey and the boss.
I don't know.
Unfortunately for Hunter here, nobody has much of anything.
No.
Word.
5
It's
folds.
going to be just a raise and take it.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Oh, thank you.
We didn't even have to make it.
I know, that's awesome. That's funny. Everything's in my hotel though.
Yeah, you said you're in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you're just down here in business or something?
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right.
Yeah. We can shop
Can you turn the air back on?
right?
So there's our chip count.
I mean, it snows where I'm at, but I was in Montana, then Minnesota.
rounds under the gun with ace-8 of spades.
Through the whole blizzard.
A plenty playable hand, particularly
You live in Colorado.
when they're shorthanded,
Degrees last week.
Particularly with his stack.
3 days ago.
and when you're
But like, yeah, we get stuff like negative 15 degrees with the wind chill.
Yeah, that's what.
So 9 raises 90,000
Not
total.
was
At
like-
10
I'll take
folds.
the county, I'll take the desert heat any day.
3 folds, C5.
Damn.
5 folds.
We get freezing rain a lot here.
8.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing, the black ice was scary, more scary than.
folds around to the
Yeah.
No.
Spaniard, who will opt not to defend. Ron G there taking it down and
Yeah, it's not fun.
continues to separate himself from the pack.
I was going like 50.
So if you're watching the live stream for the first time, understand that we've got a 15-minute delay here. What we are broadcasting here has actually happened 15 minutes ago. Each card has a chip in it so that the computer can read it. The players have a rectangle in front of them, and it's important that they push the cards at least for 2 seconds flat into that rectangle so that we can get a read on the cards. Occasionally when you're not seeing the cards, it's usually if the player has not completely put them in the rectangle or off to the side or maybe on top of one another. But right now we got a hand here with Rick that's got pocket 8s.
8 folds, 9.
He's going to raise,
9
They just built them on.
and he's going to take that down.
Players, everybody playing a little conservative, wary of being the next person to bust out. Again, that's where an opportunity presents itself for Ron G or Rich, those chip leaders, to kind of put pressure on the middle stacks and assert a little dominance over the rest of the table, set the tone.
Action on 3 folds, 5. 5 folds, 8 folds, 9. Calls, 10. Raise,
And Hunter going to go ahead and
105 total bet.
elect to use this wheel ace. As a raise, and he'll go ahead and take down the big blind as well as his own.
And that becomes very important at this point. Nothing worse than having the blinds come your way and then you just don't get any cards and you just fold through the small and big.
I mean, like we talked about, these chip, every chip is so valuable at this point. So, I mean, when the chip leader has 30 big blinds, right? That goes to show you that even to the even to the chip leader,
Action on 5.
taking down a single big blind adds about 3% to their stack. 3%, that's a lot.
That is a lot. Pocket 8s. We've seen these a few times now. Seems like at this table. The 8s have popped up. Now the Spaniards got them.
9 folds, 10.
Nosebleeds level full.
And the blinds are going up 20 and 40,000 now.
I had it over.
Blinds 20, 40.
20-40 now.
That kind of continues to reduce number of big blinds everybody has. Hunter down to about 15. He's got the face of a man ready to get it in.
Yes, he does. Enough with that chop talk. No chopping.
Ron G.
Take it down.
The gangster.
The gangster.
He's not here for your chops. Man wants to play. Hunter kind of taking a look at the... You can see it. He's kind of taking a look at the pay structure, taking a look at what the next blind level is going to be. He kind of wants to get a sense of what he's in store for, were he to play to the next level.
Just 50,000 here to call for Carlos with the King 4 of Hearts.
And if you're Carlos there, I actually would probably prefer a raise, a suited king blocking a lot of the really good hands that Hunter could have. At the same time, he opts to just go ahead with a call.
I don't know, mixed with that 65,000.
And he's looking just to kind of protect equity from a hand exactly like Carlos has.
Yep.
King high, queen high, jack high.
The aggression pays off there.
And when I say protect equity, Vic, what I mean is Hunter was the clear favorite in that hand based on the percentages. But obviously, based on the percentages, Carlos is going to win that pot 23% of the time. By betting, Hunter denies him that 23%, just kind of guarantees that he can take the pot down. Even though he might win 3 out of 4 times, losing 1 out of 4, when the big blinds matter so much to you, it has real money implications for these players.
Yes, it really does. Going to try to take a quick minute here and have everybody notice that our sponsor right now is Danny's Cafe in Rossford. Big Glenn chimed in, said no chop.
Look at Carlos. Connected hand here, Jack 10. Gonna go ahead and get it in. This is gonna be a pretty easy fold for Rich.
Sure is. So Danny's Cafe Rossford is opened recently this fall. New management, proud to announce that they've got the NFL ticket, Lotto, Keno. They've got 10 TVs inside, 2 TVs, and the outdoor Main Street patio. Plus 4 more out back in the beer garden. The hours are 11 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, and then 5 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. They have new restrooms, new pool table, jukebox, and golden tea, and yes, they have draft beers. Check out our good friends there, downtown Rossford, at Danny's Cafe.
Like Danny's, family, friends, we all like to meet up at Danny's. They let you bring food in from that little strip in Rossford there.
Really?
Many of the restaurants, yeah, and eat there.
That's terrific.
Have a couple of drinks. We always go on Sundays. Love to hang out there.
8 folds, 9 raises.
150.
150 total bet.
Ron G just going to pump it up here. The ace-9. For Carlos, it can look tempting, but I think similar to the queen-jack suited that he folded earlier, you know, this is just another example, particularly when you add in the fact that there's a lot of stacks at parity with you that could bust out before you pretty easily, which would mean that you put more money in your pocket. But he will defend, and he'll get rewarded with a bottom pair here, but this is going to be an awfully tough board to continue on if Ron G decides that he wants to continue to show some aggression, some speed. The gangster.
That's
$175,000 bet. Bottom pair and only 1 spade out there for Carlos.
I was trying to do the jack 7. Trying to gamble.
Ron G. Not afraid.
No.
And that's a great board for what Ranji is trying to say he has. You know, so
You're not the big chip leader.
it's a great job to not be deterred by the fact that he didn't flop an ace or a 9.
Next person out is going to take home 31.45. They're all hoping for that first place, $7,065, and the trophy. Our 30K in a day final table here today. The Reserve Poker Room on Glendale Avenue in Toledo, Ohio. You mentioned earlier the tournaments are a lot of fun. We have Tuesday nights are 50 for 50, and that's a $50 buy-in. So unlike a big tournament like this is $300, $50 it's much more affordable. If you like to play tournaments, you're new to the game, or you've only been playing for a little while, that's a great opportunity to come in here and get some more experience at tournament play.
14,000 for the big and 1K back.
That is right, I remember that. Holy shit. Then I had to move, right? Did I get moved?
Gonna raise and take it from Rich here.
There's the amount of big blinds that each player has. As you mentioned, Hunter's at about 14.
Average kind of around 20 bigs. Everybody being closer together again kind of means players are going to play a little bit more conservatively. You don't want to bust out and lose out on an extra 600,000, 1,200 bucks, whatever it might be that you might ladder up to by people busting out in front of you.
Raise 105.
Under the gun, Carlos with King Queen offsuit is going to make the raise to 105,000. Fold, fold, fold.
I'll go ahead and take it down.
Jack 6. Button's ready.
That Jack 7 hurt Carlos a little bit. Now he's just about at the same chip stack as Hunter is. Ron came in here as the chip leader and is now the chip leader again. We lost our first 5 players fairly quickly.
Fairly quickly indeed.
In comparison.
Within an hour.
And now we've got 5 players that are determined to grind it out here.
Got me all nervous, Brian.
Looking for their opportunities.
Action on 8. Folds 9. Raises.
Chip leader announces a raise with King 8 of diamonds.
10 folds. 3 folds.
Hunter's going to quickly go out of the way.
5 folds.
Ron's going to take that down.
Folds it around, and again, Ron. This is kind of where Ron can really just, like I've been saying, he can continue to put the pressure on here. The rest of these players
It was like all in fest for 2.5 hours.
don't seem to be putting up too much of a resistance.
Our table was bought in 20 times. He just came one time.
And the benefit to Ron G is besides the Spaniard, Ron G could theoretically lose an all-in to almost anyone on this table, still have about 20 big blinds.
5 folds. 10 folds.
What's the blinds at?
It's just, yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, 24.
3 raises, 80,000.
Just want to play, man. All right. Yeah.
A raise here from Rich. And he'll go ahead and take it down.
Well, we're already in the middle of November. Thanksgiving right around the corner. And our Black Friday is coming up the day after Thanksgiving. That's our basically our next big one-day event. We've got some exciting things coming on this week with regards to the live streaming. Adding live streaming to Tuesday and Thursday nights.
3 folds.
Introducing PLO to the live stream as well. Traditionally, it's been a lot of Hold'em play, but
So let's see what kind of bet Spaniard puts out here.
Let him just go ahead and call. Which invites Ron G into the pot.
All right,
Here
we got
go,
three
ways.
players.
3 players, 8 seats first. Checks, 9. Checks, 10. Checks.
Pretty big flop here for Hunter.
He does opt to check.
8 checks, 9.
Ron with the pocket twos.
175. Calls. 8 folds.
Hunter here with a multitude of outs.
18 outs here.
Let's see if one hits on the river here. It doesn't. It's
Does
3.
not.
9 bets, 200. 10
King. That's what I had.
Queen ten of spades.
Hunter going to take a bit of a hit there. Check on the flop, kind of.
Check on the flop is exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, that really kind of hurt him there.
It depends on the approach. You know, I think the benefit to betting on the flop is he could use a smaller sizing. If Ranji opts to call and then plays in flow to him on the turn, he can then check back, kind of see a river for free. Had to call off a pretty large bet there from Ranji on the turn, but the man still has chips.
Yes,
He's
he
got
does.
a chair.
Yep. And he certainly has the will.
Action on 3.
Under the gun, Rich wakes up with ace-queen offsuit.
Three raises 105.
Notice that Rich here is using,
5 folds.
again, a larger sizing with a better hand than when he raised earlier. He raised to 80,000. The more middling hand class.
And under the gun, he's going to take that down, which means he takes down the small big blind and the ante as it comes around to him to be the big blind and the ante. Rick Taylor is watching. Thanks for chiming in there, Rick. Hope you're doing well. I know you probably didn't get out to play golf today in the snow. Carlos under the gun, ace-king. Blinds at 20, 40, and 20.
5 raises to 105.
105 is
8
announced.
folds, 9 folds, 10 folds. 3 folds.
Just going to get it through for a round of the blinds and the ante. We're kind of creeping up on the next blind level here. Should be in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
So Ron now getting really close to 2 million.
Yeah, again, he almost doubles the next biggest stack. Definitely puts him in a position to continue to do what he's been doing. Kind of abuse the fact that he's well ahead in terms of chips.
Haven't heard much from the Spaniard recently. Under the gun, he's got ace-9 of hearts.
8 raises 80,000 total.
Going to do a min raise here.
9 folds, 10 folds.
Pocket fives here for Rich. And look what we got coming up with Carlos.
3 calls.
And Carlos here, he's got about 15 big blinds. He's just going to call.
Just going to call.
See.
Setting the trap? We'll know after the flop, right?
Carlos is obviously going to be pretty happy with this particular board. This could be one you could see him lead out on. Again, when he has the big blind, he can have a lot of 10s, pocket deuces, 4s, maybe even 4 deuce suited.
175,000 gets everybody else to lay down. He's going to take that. He's going to show the ace jack of spades to everybody at the table.
The interesting thing about that hand is that Rich opts to fold fives. I think that he did so because Carlos, having called out of the big blind, was then leading into the pre-flop aggressor, which gives him typically a stronger range of hands. Had it been a check from Carlos and then a continuation bet from the Spaniard there, maybe Rich kind of convinces himself to call a little bit more because 10-4 deuce is a pretty innocuous board for pocket fives.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of high card type hands, but Carlos opted to lead out, and Rich felt he had a pretty trivial fold.
5 folds, 8. Fold.
Another pocket there, pair for Rich. He makes the raise and is able to take that down.
And you can kind of see the players now starting to take a look up at the board. They want to see how much time they have left before the next blind level. Hunter kind of hanging around down at the bottom.
Waiting for his opportunity. He's being very patient.
Yeah, well, again, you'll see probably the middle stacks. They're just kind of playing a waiting game. They don't want to look to get it in while Hunter's on the short stack. And this is another thing, too, about Ron G's stack. The fact that Ron G is the chip leader means that the Spaniard in blind versus blind situations would come up a lot when you're playing short-handed. The Spaniard can't do a lot of the typical blind versus blind stuff. And what I mean by that is raising, with very middling to weak hands from the small blind against the big blind. Because Ron G just has too many chips.
Right.
He can kind of comfortably call off with a lot of hands, knowing that he can then play in position against the Spaniard post-flop.
Folds, C5. Five folds, 8 folds, 9. Call, C10.
If you're Hunter there, that's really an opportunity to kind of get it in. You have a king, blind versus blind. Taking down a single set of big blinds or small blinds is good, but it's also good when you flop trips.
Yes, it sure is. Life is good. And the check enables him to let Ron just bet into him.
9 bet, 70,000. 10 calls.
Don't expect any kind of bet here from Ron, but could be wrong.
9 check.
There's the check.
10 moves all in. $225.
Okay, so Hunter's going to take down this pot. He's going to show the deuce.
Hunter picking up some needed big blinds there. Gives him a little bit more of a playable stack at 11 bigs. 5-handed.
Hunter's got another member of his fan club chiming in, Rodney. Says, let's go, Hunter, take it down.
Action on 5. Folds 8. Sheet 8 folds, 9 folds, 10. 10 calls. 3 checks. Check 3.
Interesting board here. Hunter flopping middle pair. Rich, king high flush draw. Trips for Hunter.
3 checks.
He's going to opt to go ahead and check. Oh, and the spade on the river for Rich. If you're Rich here, this is going to be pretty much a slam dunk all in. In Hunter's mind, Hunter's going to be thinking that Rich is going to want to have betted. Wow.
Oh, and he calls.
Rich just calls.
Wow. Huh.
I was afraid of the full house.
Wow, and Hunter.
Oh, it says he was afraid of the full house is what
Hunter
he said.
gets a nasty break there from Rich. Don't really see how you can just kind of call there. Yeah, Hunter kind of making it known. Rich was seeing monsters in the closet there a little bit. But.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, under the bed and in the closet.
Everywhere. Man, they were all over the place. But
Yeah.
like I said, the money's real.
Mm-hmm.
The chips matter. You opted to take a more conservative route.
Spaniard under the gun just hasn't seen much coming his way recently.
Hunter just can't believe that he's still in this tournament. As you hear him kind of talking about the fact that he's still there.
Queen 10 of spades for Ron. He's going to raise, make it 110,000. You see a call here from Rich, or? Oh, wow.
Rich's
Huh.
man has a little bit of a different strategy.
I'm gonna win tonight. It's gonna be with Jack 7.
He must have seen that hand a lot today. Carlos says if he's going to win today, it's going to be with Jack 7. Unless it's his favorite hand, you know, you do run into players that, you know, King 9, the Moose, the 8-5, Queen with a tray. Some people just can't get away from those.
Action on 9.
Ron G.
9 folds, 10 folds.
I'm a little surprised, Ron G. The
Yeah.
gangster.
Yeah.
Folding the 6-5 suitor.
And small blind, Carl. Rich has got the dealer button. He's got Queen Jack of diamonds.
105.
With the blinds at 20 and 40, he's going to make it 105,000.
5 folds.
Oh, Carlos is like, I really wanted to play that. Spaniard's going to let go of K9.
Here we go, the players. Everybody kind of alluding to the fact the blinds are about to go up here soon. I think the next level is 2550, if I remember correctly.
Action on 10
These
folds.
guys are in it to win it, and we're here to watch them all the way down to the end.
3 folds.
Please
5.
stay with us. Our cash games, typically we go to a certain time when we live stream, but
12.
we're going to be here until somebody walks home with that trophy and the $7,000 prize.
9 check.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
8 checks. 9.
80.
That's 80,000.
We're waiting for the graphics to catch up here. Looks like it's just going to be a bet and take it situation. Round
Yeah.
G there. The button moves over to the Spaniard, and we get an updated chip count here.
Miles is watching. Miles played today. Needed to stick around for the cash game, Miles. When Max and I came in here earlier, it was going really strong, both tables.
3 folds. C5.
And Carlos, he's shown a propensity to want to play those
8.
suited gap cards. This time he's going to opt to let it go. And
8 raises 100,000 total. 9 folds. C10.
Hunter here with a suited king. He's on the short stack. He's got Got about 7 bigs. He's going to opt to just call here.
Flops have been coming in Hunter's favor more times than not. Let's see what he does here. I'm sorry. Did I predict that?
No.
I didn't mean to, but
There
anyway,
it is.
there it is.
Well, here we go. Off to a river. The Spaniard. Oh, here we go, Hunter. Doing the pre-leave. Not there, looking for a diamond. Doesn't find one. Hunter gets the much-needed double up.
You can't.
I think Hunter's made a new friend here in Carlos.
And the player's kind of alluding to the fact that Hunter has been running particularly well at this final table.
And I believe we're on a break here. And so we are going to be on a break here, but we've got a guest coming into the booth. He's affectionately known as K9. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly, but as soon as K9 gets here, Max, what do you think? What do you think about when we come back from the break? Are we going to see anybody get a little more aggressive, or do you think we'll continue to see people looking for their positions?
I mean, the fact that the blinds are going to go up, to 50K basically is going to do, in my opinion, very little for these players, just because it's such a little difference. It's an incremental difference compared to where we were at with 20 and 40,000. That being said, I think as you go into kind of the next 2 blind levels, you'll start to see it just purely based on the fact that the chip stacks are so small. People have very few big blinds. They're going to need to look to get it in at some point more speculatively than what we've seen this last 5 do. We've seen a lot more conservative play in that regard, but at the same time, the players from their perspective are doing what they need to do because nobody's busted out, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And alrighty, we will go ahead as we get them all situated here. Welcome in our honorary Buckeye, dressed to the nines in the red and the white. Chris, what's going on, baby? How are you?
What's going on, buddy?
Good. Man, so we didn't catch you in this tournament, though, but what have been some of the things that you've noticed change a little bit in terms of your experience when you're playing these live tournaments compared to, when you play cash, obviously?
Well, back in the day, I was a little bit of a tournament grinder. Tournaments are harder now. I mean, poker back then when I was playing full-time, the game wasn't as hard as it is now. A lot of that coming up from the internet. And then you have clubs like the Reserve popping up, allowing people access who can't really go to the casino or whatnot, and allow them to play here. And they run a great tournament structure here. They have a lot of tournaments. And so it's a little more difficult, I'm definitely more of a cash game player.
Yeah.
Prefer cash, as you know. I don't really have the patience for tournaments like I used to. I think maybe because I'm getting older now.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a little shocked when I tell them I'm in my mid-40s, but yeah, I have fun. I enjoyed it. I just picked up poker again in January, really because of guys like you, at the casino, and it was good to get back into it. I enjoyed it. So.
How do you notice that the strategy changes? When you do hop in, like for example, I know you hopped in the 100K that the Reserve had, a couple months ago. How do you notice that the structure, that the strategy changes from tournament to cash?
Well, definitely in cash game, I'm a lot more aggressive. For me personally, tournament, it's really like early on, build a stack, get the stack, just get to that break where the rebuy structure is done, and then that's when the real tournament starts. Is after you get past that rebuy entry.
Yeah.
That's why I really like freeze outs. One entry. I try to play the freeze outs when they have them. But that 100K, I think I played 4 flights. All 4 flights. I was the chip leader by the first break. All 4 flights I was out before
Yeah.
hit back.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to run good. There's some run good, a lot of patience. You know, Mr. Hunter, I was, you know, telling him be patient. He was some spots out there where he wanted to play some hands, and he made some disciplined folds, and that's why he made this final table. I just told him to play discipline. Said a tournament is a marathon. It's not a race. Cash game's a race. You know, cash game is hitting. You know, if you're there for 4 hours and you can make some good cash roll, but in a tournament, you know, it's about last man standing. So.
How do you think, you know, we see a lot on the 5-10 cash game. How does that game play? You know, what do you kind of think when you go into the 5-10 cash game? I know that there's a lot of action players and everything. How are you trying to adjust?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm used to playing a little bigger. But the 5-10 here is great. I love the stream. The people at the table do play a little different, and so I actually loosen up a little bit. I mean, you've played with me. I'm actually a little tighter, but on the stream, a lot of the people, I think, tighten up a little bit because A, nobody wants to get bluffed on stream. B, nobody wants to lose on stream.
Yeah.
You know, that's why there's certain players when they're at that game, they're great for that game. Gary from Detroit's great. Caleb's great. There's some, you know, but that game is still a lot of fun. And it's the best thing about that game, I think, is besides the production, because the stream is really excellent, and the commentating you guys do is top notch, really.
Thanks, man.
But the best thing about that game is there's been some beats, but everybody's friendly. Everybody knows each other. No one's trying to really take their heads off. But it's just like I said, you know, this is just a little card room in Toledo, Ohio, and it's really got one of the only and one of the best streams, you know, in the Midwest or even East Coast. You know, I'll be hopefully I'll come end of January, beginning of February, I'll be hosting once a month a 25-50 game, and we're reaching out to some streamers and some big players to get them to play, to let you know, because they know now the stream's getting looked at. They know that this is here, and try to bring some big names in here to provide some entertainment for those that don't want to watch.
Yeah. Last question we got for you is, you know, tell us a little bit about the dynamic as a player on stream. Like, how does it differentiate between when, you know, we're sitting in the main lobby room and there's no cameras on and anything? You know, how does the atmosphere change? How does the play change? What are the things that you notice?
So, like I said, a lot of the players tighten up a little bit on stream. I think that's why you see players like Gary loosen up a little bit. Caleb loosens up a little bit. I actually loosen up a little bit. Some of the players on stream tighten up. You got to adjust because once the camera's off, then everybody kind of gets into the groove, playing their own. I think a lot of players are adjusting really well. Some players are actually just starting to settle in. But definitely the stream adds that dynamic, you know, because in 15 minutes you're going to know, you know?
Yeah.
And so there are certain players who love to bluff in situations, and there's not many of them, to be honest, during the stream. But like I said, once those cameras off, people loosen up. But definitely during stream, the dynamic is the game is a little bit tighter. People usually takes the first hour. Usually by that 9:30 break, everyone's kind of like settled in, and they're like, okay, we start to have fun. I know when Closer was here for that stream, it loosened up real quick. He's really good action, really talkative. And so, like I said, the dynamic just by changing one or two players can really change. I know for myself, I know a lot of people like to call me a nit. You know, it is what it is. But you got to pick your spots, find your spots, and then like I said, during the stream, I try to loosen up just a little bit, which is funny because Noah of all people is like, I've seen the stream, you're loose, you're loose, and then everybody at the game the other day was like, K9 loose? You obviously have not played with this guy.
Yeah.
So.
That's funny, man. All right, anything last you want to get out to the people? Anything you want to say before we kind of let you go here, get back to the cash game floor?
Keep watching the stream. You know, this guy Max here does a great job. Thanks to Jim and Steve. You know, the Reserve is a great poker club. I mean, this is really like a little gem for this poker community here. And so, like I said, I'll be hosting a 25-50 game starting end of January, beginning of February, and just really to bring in some names to play here. You know, I think that'll really help the poker community here. And because you know, I know myself personally, man, I don't want to make that drive to MGM.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a little jewel in the rough and a great production, great stream, great room, great commentating, good action, everybody.
Thanks,
so
man.
come check it out, everybody. Come check out the Reserve.
Yeah, everybody come check it out on Glendale Ave. We'll be right back. I want to thank K9 for
Yes, sir.
coming on, and we will be right back with those last five playing down to one champion.
All right, guys. Good luck.
Huh?
What?
How much did you, that fire keepers, you said you're still paying taxes or whatever?
Oh, 20K.
was back in February, yeah. They had
How much
like
was
almost
hurt?
530. We ICM chopped.
We got a raise, 125. 5 raises, 125.
All right, everybody. Looks like there is no break this time. We're going to go right back into the action here as the players get done with their break. Carlos hoping to get up with an ace-10. Going to fold around. Chip counts here. Blinds did go up 25-50. Like I said, not too much different from the 20-40 that the players were playing. But it is an increase. It does put a little bit more pressure on everybody. Just kind of change the way that players go about thinking about their respective stack sizes.
8 folds, 9 folds, 10 folds.
Right.
3 raises, 125 total.
Carlos going to go ahead and get out of the way here. Rich climbs back in and around that million mark.
Spaniard is now a low stack here.
Short stack after that. After that all-in situation with Hunter right before the break. We got Paul in the box now. We'll get us all ready to go. Action will start on Ron G, the OG.
9 and 10 fold.
Fold the button.
3's all in.
And Rich just going to go ahead and rip here with pocket fives.
Wow.
Carlos
now with
behind.
sixes.
Sixes.
5
But
folds.
Carlos is going to be sick to his stomach when he sees the hands flip up here. Yeah, you can see him kind of smirking a little bit.
A big smile.
But again, I mean, from Carlos's perspective, that shove from Rich is awfully aggressive, especially with pocket fives. But
No, I didn't really. I wasn't.
the best case scenario
210.
is the one that played out for the young man, and here we go. Which ace-10 or pocket fives? Which would you like?
I'd always want the ace-10. He doesn't get any help there, though.
Vic, you're 0 for 2 calling these.
Got
Let's see if anything
5
changes
outs.
on this turn. Nothing to change there. The Spaniard.
Spaniard is now going to take down 5th place here.
Knocked out in 5th. Down to 4.
3,000. Hunter, who says, "What? You know, how did I get here? Why am I here at this final table?" And now he's at final 4. Done a great job here, and we have an opportunity here. We're going to actually bring the Spaniard in to chat with us for a little bit after taking 5th place. Come on in and have a seat.
How's it going, sir?
Hey, thanks.
Hey, this is the
Thanks
first
for
time we
having
met.
me.
I'm Max. Thank you for coming on the stream here. Tell us about your experience today.
First time here.
Okay.
So this is the first tournament I came in. I was looking for tournament play. I was at the Hollywood.
Okay.
Playing some cash. And they let me know about this. I was checking it out and saw this tournament, so I targeted this for my first time coming in. And
Awesome. Tell us about what you thought about the atmosphere, things off the felt.
oh yeah.
From Boston.
Yep. Just came here from Boston.
Okay.
Just economically, it made more sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work remotely.
Boston,
so.
man, that big city, that you can work from home setup, then that works for sure.
Yeah, it's
so.
nice. You know, a little acclimating, but I've done pretty good at, getting some workflows and making it work.
Well, that's awesome. Yep. Well, good. I'm glad that we're happy to have you. Thank you for coming in and checking us out. Tell us about the atmosphere, things off the felt that you noticed about the reserve today that you enjoyed.
The tables are beautiful. Great quality. You guys keep great care of them. Most poker rooms are, hit or miss, or worn down. The felt is amazing. They feel like brand new. The tables, the chairs, the chips not dirty or grimy. WSOP cards. I
Sure.
mean, everything feels top notch.
Great, that's awesome. And then what was kind of your strategy coming into this final table? You know, what was the approach that you were looking to take, and how do you think you executed on that?
Just get it in with the best hand.
Yeah, there you go.
As you can see, the last hand I went in out, 5-handed ace, like you said, you
That'll
take the
work.
ace
There you go.
all the time
Yeah,
until
there you go.
the river, and then it's like, all right, well,
Yeah, there you go.
that-
Awesome.
That's small,
Well, anything
big
you want to
alone.
let
That's
the audience know? Anything you want to get off your chest here for the first time at the Reserve Poker Club?
no, come on in. Anybody can come play. It's a great atmosphere. Everybody's friendly, and everybody helps each other out. They'll let you know what to do, when to do it. So, definitely a awesome atmosphere. I'll be back.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming into the
Hi,
booth. The
Max.
Spaniard,
Yeah.
everybody. Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely.
All right, man.
Alrighty, everybody. Fantastic interview with one of the players here today,
Head button.
the Spaniard, going out in 5th place,
small,
taking
big
home a
alone.
little over $3,000 as part of the $30K in a day.
That small, big alone.
Paul's going to go ahead and get us ready to roll here with our last
The
4.
button's on 4.
And while we get everything set up and ready to go, we're going to introduce our third sponsor for tonight, Jack's Menswear, located at 3414 Dorr Street right here in Toledo. Principal owner Mark Hopkins. Jack's Menswear has everything you need to look sharp, including hats, ties, shoes, and suits, both dress and casual. A family-owned business that's been in Toledo for 75 years. Come in and see the wall of distinction and consult friendly and experienced staff on how you too can become a man of distinction. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mention the Reserve Poker Club. Receive 20% off the already low prices. That's
That was
20% off
125.
when you mention the Reserve Poker Club. Jack's Menswear, located at 3414 Dorr Street.
So now that we're down to 4 players, they've taken just a slight pause so that they get the players positioned in the table comfortably and better for the dealer to access. So we just had to technically get that adjusted.
Ron G outflops the ace-10 of Hunter.
Call's 155.
It's a call. Hunter with just about 60% pot and a deuce on the river, or on the turn, excuse me. Check, check.
Ron doing a little acting there, a little Oscar work.
That's 300. Full. All right, now we got that.
Hunter going to go ahead. Lay down ace high there. Leaves him with 7 bigs.
And now Ron has reached that $2 million watermark in chips. We're down to our final 4 here. Yeah, I found it very interesting. The Spaniard had just basically moved here from Boston. Said he had a friend was telling him about the reserve, been in here many times, so he thought he'd just give it a shot, and here he winds up taking 5th place.
It's a pretty good welcome.
Yes.
Pretty,
yeah, it is.
pretty good welcome gift there. Glad to have him. Played
Yes.
very well, obviously.
Four folds. Seven raises, 175 total. 9 folds.
Ron G going to go ahead. Raise it up here. Put pressure on Hunter in the big blind. Hunter folds.
Jerry Buckner chimes in, says, let's go, Ron. Dominic Aspera says, Hunter, turn it up a notch. Kid.
4 folds. Seven raises. 150 total. 9 folds.
Ron's continuing to put the pressure on. Something kind of expected, I guess, to see after the break, where the chip leader would continue to put the pressure on.
X's on 7.
Under the gun, Ron looks at
7
10-9.
calls, 9 folds.
Makes the
2
call.
calls, option.
Rich is going to make the call.
Check. All right, 3 of you.
Got a mystery hand here from Carlos.
Check. 2 checks. 4 checks. 7 bets 100. 2 folds.
And he's going to put the pressure on there and take that down. Shout out to everybody that's joined us for this final table here, our 30K in a day, the Reserve Poker Room on Glendale Avenue in Toledo, Ohio. $300 buy-in today. We had 143 entries. We started the day at 12:15. Been a long day, but just a tremendous amount of energy in this room today. Very, very fun tournament to be involved in. We paid top 17. We're down to the final 4 here. The first prize is just over $7,000. And a very handsome trophy. Bragging rights. Hunter's down to 5 big blinds.
Ron G really just continuing to separate himself here.
He is. Not much there for Rich under the gun. Carlos with a button. 2 suited cards. Not much else to say about them other than they're suited. Gonna lay that down.
Let's see what Ron G does here. The opposite. Ron G opposite just give Hunter a walk there.
Huh. So the blinds are currently at 25 and 50 with a $25,000 ante. We saw just a lot of action in that first hour, just a little bit of an hour. We had 10 people this final table, and seemed like just a blink of an eye. We lost 5 players. A lot of great action.
That's how it goes sometimes, you know, again.
Yeah.
7 raises, 150 total.
These tournaments, they're swingy. And here we go.
Okay, we're going to see a flop
We
here.
are going to see a flop. 2 overs for Ron G to the pair of 5s for Rich.
I think if Ron bets, he's going to take it down.
7 bets 150. 2 folds.
And Rich will just fold before Ron can even get the chips out there.
Yep.
Again, that's not the board that you're looking for. You're looking for more of the 10-4 deuce board that Rich saw earlier with the pocket 5s, not the Queen Jack 8.
So our winner classic event number 2 is a $5,000 guarantee pot limit Omaha tournament. That's Monday, December 5th. That's going to kind of kick things off for us for that week. 6:15 start. Take note of that because we typically start our tournaments around 7:15. That's a $100 buy-in, $40,000 starting stack with 20-minute levels. That's a $5,000 guaranteed prize pool. That's our winter classic. It's going to be a fantastic week, and that's going to be a great way to start things off.
How much is it? 255 total.
And here we go, Hunter. Getting it in with Queen 7.
Carlos is going to make the call.
Carlos with 8-5. He's not in terrible shape here. Again, 60-40.
With the moose.
Time will tell. Hunter's been running pretty good on this final table. Let's see if it continues. An 8 right off the rip. Hunter looking for a queen and a queen only. Unfortunate for Hunter there.
No, but what a great run for Hunter.
Yeah.
Just fantastic job. Great job. 4th place for Hunter. We're going to be down to our final 3.
Hunter taking home, I think it's 38. Yep, just shy of $3,800 here.
Yeah, fantastic.
Not a bad Saturday.
Got a check in here from Marge saying Grandpa and I are watching and it's past our bedtime. Well, we're so happy you stayed up with us, Grandma and Grandpa. Hope you're enjoying this final table, our live streaming from the Reserve Poker Room in Toledo, Ohio. Our 30K in a day. And now we're down to 3 players.
As we inch kind of closer and closer.
4 raises, 175 total. 7 folds.
And this is with how quickly these blinds will come around to each of the players. You're going to have to see some of these players start to mix it up, especially as we continue to rise in the blind levels. 3-handed. There isn't a whole lot of waiting you can do 3-handed. This might be an example of one of those times where I was just describing as Carlos. Gonna limp in on the button. Ace 3 suited. Ranji's gonna shoot it up.
7 raises, 250 total. 2 folds.
Big bet here from Ron.
Carlos looking at his cards, trying to make that 3 turn into a red ace.
50 big blinds for Ron. Really separated himself now.
Yeah, I mean, he could basically take on either of these players and still have a very playable stack at this point. That affords him the luxury of being able to really put pressure on. Again, these Carlos and Rich are not too far apart in their stacks. Means that they both have to be conscious that the other could quite easily bust before them, meaning they ladder in the prize pool.
2 total, 150 more.
And Carlos going to shoot it up here with position. The suited 1-gapper. We were saying earlier, Vic, that he likes to play those suited 1-gappers.
He does, yeah. Yeah, we definitely noticed that earlier in the day. Got to deal to him quite a few times, not knowing who he was, trying to pay attention to how he was playing. And he definitely enjoys the game. He plays with a lot of passion. You see him smiling, and you see him mixing it up with the players, people that he's never even met before.
125's a raise.
Rich goes for a raise here. 10-9 suited.
4 folds.
Jack 7. Carlos
Jack 7
did say that if he was going to win, it was going to be with Jack 7.
Jack 7. Guess not on that hand. But we are going to see a flop.
This board
A little bit of something for
could
each
get
of them.
Rich into some trouble. Here.
2 bets, 175.
That is a
7's all in.
awfully large bet, and Rich is in a super awkward position here.
Yeah.
This is part of the problem with betting so large. Imagine Rich had just bet something like 75K
Right.
or 100,
Exactly.
slightly smaller, kind of inducing draws to maybe just call, given that they're getting a better price. That's a good fold from Rich there. You're not losing to a whole lot. There are a fair number of draws, and remember that Ron has shown a propensity to play aggressive.
Yes, he really has.
Tried to bluff into the short stack of Hunter with 9 high when Hunter flopped trips. He tried to He did a check raise bluff. I think it was against Rich earlier as well with King Jack offsuit. Nothing but a gutter and an overcard.
Small, big, force per sec.
And those are the sorts of moves that, over time, as players start to see it more,
175 total.
those sorts of moves will get you paid when you do have it. If you're Rich here, Jack 10 is...
2 folds.
You gotta be scared.
Jack 10 kind of becomes a premium
Yeah,
three-handed.
it really does. Although Carlos had put out a sizable bet there.
Yeah, again, the stack sizes are so small that Rich doesn't feel he's getting the right price to call with a Jack 10. Maybe feeling that he either has to make a move or fold. Here we go, Rich.
Wow.
The ace-10 suited and Ron G on the button.
On the button with pocket nines. Gonna see some fireworks here.
Raise to 250.
This is a massive, again, just a massive race from
He's all in.
Ron G. Rich is going to get it in here.
There's one of Ron's nines, and there's 2 of Rich's clubs in Carlos's hands, which is about to go into the muck.
If it's not Jack 7, he's not calling. The man made the declaration.
Yes, he did.
Now, if you're on G, I mean, this is a pretty standard call.
So here we go. Rich's tournament life is at stake here.
Here we go.
Coin toss.
To a
Really?
river we go. And I can tell you one man that's hoping to avoid an ace or a 10, and that's Carlos. Looking to ladder up, but unfortunately for him, it looks like Rich is in a commanding position here, and he will indeed take it down, get a double up, move himself back up to 20 bigs and a million chips. That puts him back at parity with Carlos. Means that they're kind of back into this sparring battle.
Nah, I would.
Get that Hollywood time. Yeah, exactly, man. I've done it twice, all right? Yeah. All right. I'm doing it right now. Shit.
Marge, thank you for the nice comment. Appreciate it.
Here goes Carlos. Pocket aces.
Boy.
In the small blind here.
225.
4 raises, 225 total.
Seems like a callable bet for Ron with Jack 7, particularly with his chip stack.
It's tough. I mean, again, this is, you know, when you pick up uber premiums like pocket aces, obviously.
He shows the aces.
And you're shorthanded. Why not just make it 125 there?
Yeah.
Ron wanted to call it
He did.
225.
Yeah.
He most certainly would have called that 125. And the benefit of that is, you know, on a, let's say, a Jack 5 deuce board or a 7-6-3 board or a board with 2 hearts, you know, Carlos is getting all the money in a situation like that. And when you're playing three-handed, you've just got to accept that the edge is narrow. You want to get it in when you are the statistical favorite, and then just hope that you hold in a lot of these situations.
2 raises, 275 total.
But the players have been using a lot of large sizings. I think that's kind of why we've been seeing a lot of
Folds, 4 folds.
pre-flop folding going on.
That's right, I want to lose with that.
Me too.
Jack 8.
Then you gotta crash at 6-8.
So Rich creeping
I knew he was going to raise.
compared to where he was.
I want to throw this extra one in there.
I'm going to confess to not really knowing Rich. Are you familiar with Rich at all?
Not really familiar
Okay.
with any of these players,
right.
unfortunately. None more than what we've seen tonight.
It's just we continue to see some fresh faces, some new people coming in, checking us out. This live streaming has really helped the club quite a bit. We bump into new players coming in, ask them how they found out about it, and typically they'll say, well, I've been watching the live stream, thought I'd check it out. This has been quite an addition for this organization, and really Steve, Marissa, and Jim have just done a fantastic job putting this together so that we can present this to people out there. And we appreciate everybody that watches and participates, comments. We certainly enjoy our sponsors. Right now, Jack's Menswear.
2 raises to 100. 4 calls. 7 calls.
Now we see a flop
Here
with
we go.
3 hands.
And you'll notice here that we're going three-handed to a flop because the raise was only 100,000, you know, as opposed to
Action's on 4.
225
the
or 250.
225,
Yeah.
250 that we've been seeing the players make it. If you're rich now, you just want to bet small
2 bets 175.
or large, as he opts to do.
4 folds. 7 folds.
First one to bet that takes it down, and in this case it's Rich.
Should go ahead and by keeping the pot small there with that pre-flop raise, what he did was he was able to bloat it, meaning he invited 2 very mediocre middling hands in with the raise size, and then take it down on a board where they don't connect, but ultimately it earns him extra big blinds by doing so. That's again part of the benefit of raising a smaller sizing as opposed to a very, very large sizing.
7 calls. Check.
Heads up action here. Battle of the blinds.
Bottom pair for Rich. In general, this is going to be a board that favors Ron. Him having to put money into the pot as opposed to just checking means he's more likely to have a hand with an ace in it
2 calls.
than maybe Rich does.
Checks. Check. 2 checks.
If there were ever a card
Yeah,
that we would want to bluff on,
exactly.
it was this one.
7 bets 250.
Do you like that size?
I do. I think this size is about half pot. I mean, it's kind of what you would want to go for if you had the hand that Ron is representing. You don't want to cut yourself too thin. Value-wise, against a hand like 2 pair, which Rich could conceivably have. Being in the big blind, he could have almost anything. And ultimately it gets through. You don't want to bet so small that you invite something like an ace. I think Rich's particular hand probably would have folded to most any bet.
Action's on stuff. Odds are going to be 30, 60.
Here we go, Ron.
7 folds.
Ron G going to fold the button here. Over to Rich in the small blind with King Jack.
2 raises, 175 total.
And here we go.
Yeah.
Carlos with ace jack. What does Carlos do here? He's got 16 bigs.
I'm all in. 4's all in.
He's going to go ahead and rip it in. And this is going to put Rich in an awfully uncomfortable spot here. King Jack, three-handed. It's going to seem extremely, extremely strong. It is extremely, extremely strong.
Yes.
Just given this situation. Rich has shown he's not afraid to lay hands down in the past.
So if Carlos just three bets there, say, I don't know, 300,000, 400,000, and has a bet that kind of invites Rich in, is that a better play than the all-in?
Kind of depends on what you want to accomplish.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why, you know, against players that you think are taking note of things like that, you want to play with a much more balanced strategy. What I mean by that is you want to play aces the same way that you would play hands that you were bluffing with, or maybe hands that are in the middle like an ace-jack offsuit. Kind of want to keep your opponent guessing on your overall hand class.
Well, it's not Jack 7, but it's Jack 9 suited. He's going to make the call here.
Ron G.
Yep.
Get it in there, buddy.
I got 185 total.
Shoots it up. The blinds also went up. We're now at 30 and 60. The 30K big blind ante.
Carlos makes the call. We're going to see a flop.
And this pot is getting big already. Notice that it's at 400K. Carlos is the effective stack, meaning the smallest one in this hand. Carlos does flop a gutter with a backdoor flush draw.
7 bets, 200. Four calls.
And Carlos is going to call here. The most innocuous of turn cards. This is where it's decision time for Ron G.
Yeah. Got to keep that pressure on. He's going to check.
He's going to opt to check. Which is a reasonable play because this pot is so big, Ron G theoretically with his good hands as well could just be looking to fade scary river cards and know that his opponent would be getting a good price anyway, as it's basically a pot-sized bet. Go about a half pot here.
The groan heard all the way back to Colorado.
Ron G.
That was a big pot, and
continues with the commanding chip lead here.
I have known Ron for many years. I've played cash, I've played tournaments, I've dealt to him a lot. I have to say I'm very impressed with the play, particularly after this break when they were down to 5 players. Really, really strong play by Ron. Even Carlos says, nice play.
7 calls.
And you just get the feeling that Ron is feeling it. He's in his zone.
And here we go, Rich. Oh, rip it.
Ronald.
Rip it and ship it.
Quickly. It's still at that 44 big blind level, but 2.6 million.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ron G could basically get all in and lose to Rich, the next biggest stack, and they would be almost at parity.
Yeah.
Meaning almost even.
All right, action's on 7.
Ron G here with
7 folds.
Let's see how Rich wants to proceed with 10-9 here, be it a limp or a raise.
130 total.
He will indeed raise.
Blinds are at 30, 60, 30. Out of 130, it's only 70 for Carlos to make the call, and he does make the call with King Queen.
All right, heads up.
Going to see a flop here of 10-9 offsuit against King Queen. Rich is first to act.
Two bets, 95.
95,000 is his bet to continue with.
See, and I like this sizing from Rich here. What does this sizing accomplish? Well, it allows Carlos to fold better than the 10 high of Rich, while at the same time giving Rich a good price on his bluff.
Yeah.
You don't need
Very
to
good
wager, you know, a 30 or stack in a pot like that. You can go ahead and bet a third. Let's get all of the missed air that's either beating us or has good equity against us out. And then we'll proceed from there.
So this is what they're vying for here. The next person out is going to take 43.20, then 51.90, but the 7,000 is the first place that they're really after, plus the trophy.
And the players have been discussing a chop since 5 ways, but Ron G,
no chop.
The gangster, said no chop. The man came here to play.
4 raises, 225 total. 7
And a big raise there from Carlos. Going to go ahead and take it down.
So while we don't know much about Rich, and even I would say the same thing about Carlos, I would say that after we've been watching them for a few hours, we can conclude that they're comfortable at this level. That they've obviously had some experience. They've had some experience playing not only a lot of tournaments perhaps, but final tables as well, because they just seem to be handling themselves very well.
Yeah, everybody seems to be pretty aware of the situation, you know, their relative stack sizes.
4 raises, 175 total.
This is a bet size that I think you would like with the kings.
2 folds. Button right.
Oh, but he's just going to take it down. He shows a lot of hands, unlike Ron.
He's a
Rich.
good sport. He wants to
I think
show
it's his,
everybody.
I think it's his passion for the game. He really, he just enjoys being in this game.
The man does seem, he seems like a really great presence to have at the table. Seems talkative, seems fun, lighthearted. This is real money everybody's playing for, but having a person like that at the table really kind of helps to settle the nerves of everybody. Kind of just contributes to that overall environment. Part of what makes live poker fun.
Yeah. I have to agree. I mean, that's one of the main things that I like about playing poker myself is the interaction with other people. The challenge that it represents trying to read people, getting to know what their pace is, if they have a process, what that is. And you only get to do that when you're face-to-face with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously drawbacks. You know, there are people, I think, in every game that, you know, contribute positively, and then there are people that contribute negatively to that environment. And having somebody like Carlos at the table is just obviously by far and away much more preferred than having somebody who's negative at the table.
Yeah.
Or takes away from that presence.
Heads up. Seven checks.
Rich flopping a deuce.
2 checks.
Ron turns an 8.
Seven bets, 2 1/4.
Rich is going to go ahead and call here. That is going to be an unfortunate card for Rich.
25. 7 bets, 225.
And Rich knows it. Why is that an unfortunate card for Rich? Because it pairs the 7, making it less likely that Ron has a 7. It also bricks out all of the flush and straight draws, the bluffs that Rich could assign Ron. He makes a disciplined fold. You can see he's not happy about it.
Right.
But that same bet technique is something that in live poker you see a lot of people make when they've got marginal made hands. It's not something that you're going to see a lot of people do with bluffs. I think that's a really good deduction there from Rich. I think he did it's a painful fold, but it's the right one.
Please edit that one. Don't show that.
My man Carlos.
Well, while we do have a delay, Carlos.
The suited Brunson.
We aren't editing anything. We're showing every single hand for our viewers' enjoyment. We're so glad that you're joining us here tonight for the final table and now to the final 3 of our 30K in a day.
So when Ron G raises here to 205, I mean, now he's essentially got to call off. It's unfortunate, but...
And I think he knows that, too.
550.
205. See, if he goes to something like 135 here, you can kind of more comfortably fold. But that 80K does make a difference. Fold, he's behind, but as you could tell, 35%. That's why I think if you're Ron G in that situation, you can kind of bifurcate your decision making. And what I mean by that is you can either decide to do a very, very tiny raise to try to just put pressure on the small stack, or you could go all in yourself to just try to maximize the amount of times that you get the big blind to fold.
Actions on 7. Raise is 150 total.
Raising in that like middle area doesn't really accomplish much that either of those two routes wouldn't also accomplish with greater efficiency. And the Jack-7 shows up again.
Shows it, yep.
A table theme now.
Shows
As
it.
you can see, Carlos loves it. The man has his hand. Some updated chip counts for you guys here. Ron G with a commanding chip lead here. Looking to continue to run away with this thing.
Big blind, actions on 2.
Rich is kind of in this precarious, unfortunate position where he's on the button when Ron G's in the big blind, meaning he can't make a lot of speculative raises because Ron G can pretty comfortably just call, knowing it's such a small percentage of his stack to do so.
We've got a couple of hands that are named after local heroes here. So we've got the 8-5, which is the Moose. We've got the Queen with the 3, which is the Dorothy. And maybe after today, we'll be calling the Jack-7 the Carlos.
We need to get a Rossi. My last name. Let's get that in there.
Get that in there.
Raises the 250 total. 7 folds. 2 folds.
Carlos with a very large raise. I'll go ahead and take down the blinds and ante. As these players kind of just continue to take little jabs at each other, little stabs.
Right.
Actions on 7.
Ron G. Suited wheel cards.
150 total. 2 folds.
Queen 4 and Queen 4.
4 folds.
You see, take note of this. So Ron G sizes down with the 5 deuce suited. He goes to 150. Typically, he's been opening anywhere between 205 to 250. But look, at the majority of the time, when you're 3-handed, you're going to be dealt pretty terrible cards. And you can kind of size down your raises such that you accomplish the same thing but at a better price. just like Ron G did there.
Actions on 2. 2 folds.
250.
4 raises. 250 total.
I call.
7 calls. 250.
Ron G gonna go ahead and just call here. I thought maybe we would get a shove against the short stack of Carlos. He's going to proceed with just a call, and Carlos with less than pot behind. Oh, and this board.
Wow.
This is going to be one that Carlos is going to be awfully comfortable getting it in on.
And he does.
And this is not a snap fold from Ron G. I mean, we're still ahead of all the things. King, Queen, King, Jack. Queen, Jack, Queen, 10. It's actually not a terribly... That's not a... As you can hear him kind of describing in his head there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he arrives at a fold, and even though he was technically ahead of Carlos, Carlos had good equity. Carlos could have hit a 4, a deuce, a 7, an 8. It's a lot of cards. But that's part of the reason why I said Ron G. Might, maybe we see a shove there. The problem with just calling is you kind of continue to allow Carlos to maintain the aggression, be the one determining the action.
Caleb, are you saying that Jack 5 is the Caleb? He commented, he says, we do, it's Jack 5. In our talk about naming a hand.
The Caleb.
The Caleb.
Mr. Rice in the chat. Caleb, there's two cash games out there for you, buddy.
Yeah, they're still going strong.
Your name written all over them. Both were full when we walked out there on that short little break.
Yeah.
One PLO, one no limit hold'em. Come on in. Get yourself a seat at one of those. Text or call the club. Let them know you're on your way.
Buy on break after this.
And Rich K kind of just deciding how he wants to proceed. He is going to go with a min raise here.
Ryan, what are you signing for right there?
And you see, look, this is part of the benefit of using a smaller sizing. He's now induced Carlos to call when he's a 70-30 favorite.
Two's all in. I did a double. It was supposed to be a break after one.
We'll go ahead and rip it on the flop. This is a very dangerous flop to be ripping it on.
Yeah.
Carlos could pretty easily have a 10. Carlos could have flush draws that obviously Rich is ahead of. It looks like a very dangerous board, and it's one that changes from turn to river quite a bit. But that being said, Rich had about pot behind, and when you have queens three-handed,
Oh, I'm gonna fold.
4 folds.
Oh, I want that call.
as you can hear.
Yes, absolutely he
Rich,
does.
One right. Alright guys, Ryan's coming in.
We got a dealer change here. You think, Paul? And welcome in Ryan.
Welcome in, Ryan. Get an update on all we've got going on this coming week. Go on to the reservepoker.com. Starting with tomorrow, we've got a $125 buy-in. It's our Green Chip Bounty Tournament. $25 bounty chips, 30,000 starting stack, 20-minute levels. There's a $20 add-on at the break after level 8. So that's tomorrow. That starts at 1:15. Everybody that's worked so hard today, bringing you this 30K in a day, we'll be right back here tomorrow.
4 calls.
Another really good tournament.
7 checks.
Limped pot here. Carlos flopping middle pair.
4 checks. 7 checks.
Ron G not looking to get too crazy with the 7 deuce here.
Check.
7 checks.
You got a check there.
Go.
Check.
Yes.
4 checks. 7 bets. 125,000.
And Carlos should just snap this off here. He will.
4 calls.
And Carlos will take down a nice pot. Carlos starting to accumulate a little bit here. Over $1 million. Almost at 20 bigs.
Kind of swap places there with Rich.
He did.
Over several hands.
There's what the players are playing for. There's about 16,500 left in that prize pool.
Yeah, some real money there.
This was a $300 buy-in, unlimited re-entry event. 143 entries in this tournament.
7 calls. 2 checks.
So we're going to see a battle of the blinds here. Going to see a flop.
Ron G
Very interesting.
possessing a heart, Rich not. Both players kind of just at the bottom here in terms of hands they could have. Obviously 7 high and 8 high are pretty close to the nut low. I'm going to go ahead and bet and take it down.
So on Monday is a big night for us. Usually it is. It's a $90 buy-in tournament. It's a $3,000 guarantee. We usually get a very good turnout for that, as well as getting a cash game or 2 going here on Monday night. That starts at 7:15. $90 buy-in, $30,000 starting stack, 20-minute levels. Again, $20 add-on at the end of level 8 gets you 20,000 more in chips.
I really thought about it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Catches up to you.
I know.
That raise, 175.
175,000 raised.
Ron G from the button.
2 folds.
Go ahead and raise. Carlos, a very playable Queen 9 suited.
And he's going to make the call. 115 to make the call. We're going to see a flop between these two hands. Heads up action.
And Ron G flopping the best of it with an ace. Look at Carlos.
Yeah, first act puts out 200,000.
Go ahead and put 200 out there. Let's just see what happens.
Pretty quick call there from Ron. This could slow things down a little bit.
Check.
4 checks.
Yeah, from Ron G here, I like a check.
7 bets. 400,000.
See, the problem with betting here for Ron G is what are you really trying to get value out of? You have the worst possible ace.
Wrong time.
Blinds are up to 40 and 80.
By just checking back, Ron kind of opens the door for Carlos to continue bluffing while at the same time pot controlling if Ron were up against a bigger ace.
Then Tuesday night, I mentioned it earlier, it's a $50 buy-in tournament. It's 50K for $50. That starts at 7:15. $50 buy-in gets you 50,000 in starting stack. 15-minute levels. Late entry until the start of level 9. Well, here we go.
Carlos going to get it in. I imagine Ron will quickly muck his jack deuce offsuit.
Then Wednesday night is our $90 Wednesday night bounty tournament, Bounty Hunter. People love the bounty tournaments. We get a really good turnout for that. $90 buy-in, 30,000 starting stack. $20 bounties. Then Thursday night is 60 for 60.
Carlos going to go ahead and get it in here with Jack 10.
Little shift in gears here.
Well, notice that the blinds went up, so we're at 40 and 80 with 40
Yes.
big blind ante.
Mm-hmm.
Means Carlos has about 10 big blinds now.
930,000.
Ron G doesn't know it, but he would
7 folds.
be chopping this all in.
And 2 folds.
And Rich, you can tell by the look on his face as he had to fold his big blind there. He was not happy about it.
No.
He's obviously in need to make a move here soon.
So Mr. Rice, Mr. Caleb Rice says, no, that's the Jack 5 is not his hand. That's going to be the max.
Wow. What?
What is there some history there? Did you guys get it?
Man,
Did you guys get
Caleb
it
and
in?
I, so Caleb, for those of you that aren't aware, the reserve put on a heads-up tournament.
Oh,
one-on-one, mano-y-mano, field of 32. Actually, I think we had 30 players.
All right.
Come out for that. Caleb and I,
That was a great
good
day.
buddies. We did end up playing each other in that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I spiked many a 5 against Caleb in that tournament. So good guy, Caleb. One of the best action drivers and best characters.
Yes, absolutely.
The 50K Winter Classic main event. The Winter Classic is the next kind of tournament series that the reserve is running here. That $50,000 main event. Going to be flights, day 1 flights running for 3 days. $100 buy-in. They made it extra affordable for everybody. 5 flights to choose from there at the bottom. Top 12% advance to day 2 with a $1,000 double bag bonus. Address there at the bottom. Feel free to call for more information or check out the website, reservepokerclub.com. And there are a variety of other events as well that will be run
during that week.
Here. And Rich, all it took was 2 shoves from Rich to get through there, and all of a sudden, the man had doubled his stack. But it doesn't mean as much right now just because the big blinds are so much. There are the other Winter Classic tournaments and events. 5K PLO event on Monday. My birthday, December 5th.
Hey, all right.
Tuesday, December 6th, double chip green bounty. Wednesday, December 7th, the 10K freeze out, and then that main event running for 4 days, 3 days of day 1s, and then the final day 2.
Ron's going to raise it up with pocket 4s here.
Ron G's looking to get it in here.
And he's going to take that down.
That's a good one to take down there. Stealing a couple of big blinds from each player. And the night continues on here.
It sure does.
30K in a day. Last 3 players. There's my hand.
There's the max.
The max. I like the offsuit variety too. Even better.
Preferred.
Preferred.
The max preferred.
2 flush draws.
Yeah. The max preferred. Yeah, this great team here at the Reserve has now been putting on this event for 12 hours. We're going to continue to stay with this. It's a long day. It's a lot of work, but I tell you, there's had such great energy in the room today. So much fun.
Ron G right now just exhibiting a sort of gravitational pull of these chips towards him as his stack climbs up over 3 million.
Big blind. C2 is all in.
And here we go. Rich with a king. Says, let's do it.
Yeah.
I think this will probably get through. Just not enough for any of the players to really hold on to.
Kevin Wall says, instead of it being 30K in a day, it's now 30K in 2 days. Well,
that's true.
We got the
somebody changed the graphic. Jim, are we on that?
Well, the point is, we did get the prize pool up and above 30,000 in a day, but we are now into our second official day of it. 12 hours. Been going at it here. Just a great staff, great crew. I have to tell you, I'm just enjoy being a part of this. Marissa, Jim, Steve, just do a fantastic job of presenting a product to people, and that's what we're here to do. Great customer focus.
180,000, 2 folds.
Speaking of the staff, Marquez is watching. He's he's our security guy, couple of our security guys, but our main one that's here mostly during the week. Does a great job. Does a great job with customer service as well. Really gets to know the players. Is more than just standing guard at the door. People really appreciate Marquez, and we appreciate the job that he does.
7 folds. I think the fold actually folded in the game, so.
Let's see what Rich wants to do here. He's got one of the worst hands in poker.
He's just going to get out of the way. I don't know if it was because Carlos made a comment or...
well, Carlos was pretty short.
Carlos says, if you would have raised, I would have folded.
Carlos was not far behind in terms of hand quality. But obviously, Rich doesn't know that. Rich looks down at one of the worst hands possible. He thinks this is one of the worst hands possible.
Hutch chimes in, says he's a great guy, meaning Marquez. I agree. We agree. We think you're a great guy, Hutch. Love having you here. Hope to see you this week.
C2 races at 200,000. C4 calls.
And we've got the max in the big blind.
Yeah.
Man, get us in there.
Come on.
Heads up action.
He
Heads
just
up
doesn't
action.
understand. Here it comes. 5-5. A gutter ball for Carlos. Nothing much for Rich here. I mean, he's got
C4 checks.
a backdoor flush draw, but
He represented pre-flop. He's going to continue to represent.
Gosh, damn.
4 folds.
You got a gutter? I know, blame me.
Sometimes it's almost tempting.
Like Ron says, sometimes it's really tempting.
all it takes is one pot there, and Rich kind of catapults up to the top, and now it's Carlos on the short stack.
Big blind here. is
Here he goes. 9-8.
430,000.
And this will get through.
Yes.
7 folds, 2 folds.
At 9-6.
That's what they're after. That first prize, $7,065 plus the trophy. These final 3 battling it out, really.
Like, please, I'm in my big chair, you know. Oh, no feet.
That's why I
Action.
love my wife, man. You
I'll
are
be back
everything.
later.
Gotta love 'em, man.
7 folds.
It is nice.
Is
It's
it all
a little thing.
C2 is all in.
Really is. Oh, man. Alright, I call.
And here we go.
Whoa!
Carlos.
A call.
8-3 of diamonds. Not in the worst position in the
No.
world here. 37%.
Getting late.
I think it's getting to that point.
Someone's gotta make it. Now I'm dwindling. See what you even have.
Rich potentially knocking Carlos out of this contest.
He said twice.
Ryan does a great job. Gets the pot right first.
Yeah, if I lose twice.
Gets the cards
Thank you, sir.
in the right place for us to enjoy, for us to see. Good presentation. Now let's see what the flop does.
King right there, an 8 as well.
An 8 as well.
Carlos looking for a 3 or an 8. It's
No.
King on the river. Great game to Carlos.
Yeah, look at that. Great appreciation. Great sportsmanship.
Great game to Carlos.
Yep.
And I suspect now that
After comeback.
these last 2 players will open up quite a bit now.
Over there. Lord. Jim,
We're going to get
do I
The
keep him in the small twice in a row?
No. He's asking about it. So
I think we're going to get that trophy brought out to the
I hope
to
so.
the center of the table, or to the middle spot in the table there, if I remember correctly.
That's gonna make him small twice in a row. That's who got eliminated. Small here, big here. Small is always on the button, guys.
Floor and the dealer just getting the spot of the button sorted.
That was just small button. We're good, right?
We're going to get that sorted.
You just call? We're good, right, Jim? Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're all set here. We're off. The first hand a heads up here. I have a limped pot. Nothing for either player really in this particular flop.
2 checks. 7 bets 175,000.
We're all going to go ahead and bet here for almost pot. Rich folds. As you can see, neither player particularly deep. Ron with the 2.5 to 1 chip lead.
Actions here.
Action starts on Rich,
C2 is all in.
and Rich is going to go ahead and rip it. Takes it down.
We're down to heads up here. Our 30K in a day. The Reserve Poker Room, 5105 Glendale here in Toledo, Ohio.
What a day it's been.
Yep.
It's been a long one for the staff, the dealers, for you, Vic. Thank you guys all so much for putting it on for everybody.
Thank you.
It's been a great time. Had a great turnout. Everybody gets to have a lot of fun. I think what Chris said earlier about, you know, traditionally people would have to drive for a lot of this kind of action quite a ways away for the local Toledo community here. It's a great thing that you guys get to put on for us all the time. We appreciate it.
Well, and then this the live stream room has just added so much to it, and it's the only one around.
Yeah. Truly unique. Obviously extremely fortunate to have it.
2 bets, 125,000.
Kevin in the production room, thank you.
I raised 275.
7 raises at
Look at this, Ron G. Getting gangster with it.
Yes. Putting on that pressure.
Let's see what Ron does here. Picks up, turns no additional equity.
2 checks.
Look at Ron G just blasting. Looking to put the pressure on here.
And Rich did make a comment. He said, "Oh man."
He's asking the question.
He's feeling it.
He's asking the question of Rich here. This looks like what Ron is doing is setting up an all-in jam, and he gets a 10 to fold. And
wow.
you know, for those of you that don't play a lot of heads up, top pair is not something you're going to see folded a lot in heads up.
Arms ain't that long. Feel like a T-Rex.
Rich going to go ahead and lay the best hand down. That's an awfully tough one to lay down. I mean, especially when you consider all of the draws that are available. Ron G, the gangster, as we've been calling it. He's taking it to the streets. And he does so again there and successfully.
Oh, sorry.
Hunter's now watching. Hunter, I hope you're not Honey. Hunter, I hope you're still watching.
I'll call him Honey.
And if you don't re-watch it, then you're going to miss all the great things we said about you. But we thought you really played very, very well. Did a great job today.
Good job, Honey.
I'm gonna live to regret that.
Rich with the raise and take it.
So we did just recently have, and you participated in that. You played in that $1,000 buy-in heads-up tournament.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love heads up. It's a great format.
And we've got some great feedback on it. I think we're certainly going to be doing that again in the near future. The talk is that maybe we would do it for a smaller buy-in and even a bigger field. We looked to have a field of 32 in that last one, wound up with 30. It was still a great event to have. I'd never participated. You know, dealing it was a lot of fun, actually. I didn't think it was going to be, but it was very, very interesting.
Part of the fun, too, about heads up is kind of like we were talking about community and playing live poker because you enjoy being around the people. A lot of fun. You can have, you know, very lighthearted kind of banter when it's heads up. It's just part of it's a good atmosphere to be in.
2 bets, 150,000.
150,000 into Ron, who's got a flush draw.
Ron's going to go ahead and call here.
7 calls.
Queen high flush draw.
The board pairs.
And here goes Rich. And Ron G beating him into the pot. A river card coming. An offsuit 6, and Rich is going to suck out on the river.
Wow. There's a turn of events.
Ron G was calling with a flush draw, good with queen high.
This is going to close that gap just a little bit between the two of them. Ron admits to looking for diamonds.
And Rich going for the rest of it there with a 6. It's awfully thin. I assume he was doing it for value at that point. Maybe he just had it in his mind. He was going all the way with a bluff and happened to pick up the best hand along the way.
Karen is watching. She was here today. Came down from Michigan to play. I'm pretty sure we're going to see her again at the at least for the Black Friday tournament that's coming up the day after Thanksgiving. Karen came to play with us here for the first time during our 100K. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We got her into the booth here and interviewed her, and she says she's going to be coming back. So it was really good to see Karen here again today.
A little surprised to see Ron G fold queen 9. Had a high card, semi-connected hand. You're playing heads up. Those sorts of hands become premiums. And you can hear him, Ron, kind of lamenting the fact that he thinks he folded a hand that maybe he shouldn't have. Well, Ryan will bid us farewell for right now.
Yeah,
Jonathan will step into the box.
Jonathan coming in, the lefty.
Thank you. Did you want it black or you want the line? Sorry.
That don't matter.
Appreciate that.
C7.
I call.
Call.
Ron's going to call with 8-7 offsuit. Rich is going to check. We're going to see a flop.
Check. Check, check.
Not much of anything for either one of them here.
Check.
That ace will either slow things down or it'll enable somebody to make a bet and take it down.
C7 bets 185, 185.
And in this case, I think it's going to be Ron. Except for the gut shot. Rich has got, but I can't see him making a call for that.
C2 folds. C7 wins the pot, 11 wins the 2.
There is the difference between the two players right now.
Rich gaining a little ground since they started the heads up about 15-20 minutes ago. Added about 300,000 to his stack as of right now.
C2 for stack.
Rich picks up a
240.
connected hand here in 6-5. And here we go. Rich is kind of creeping up on Ron G here in terms of their chip counts.
What about fatigue at this point?
Definitely something that starts to set in, especially when you're playing live. You know, part of the benefit when you're playing a lot of more patiently structured online tournaments, for example, you're doing so in the comfort of your own home, right? You can go get food, you can go do whatever. But when you're playing live, you know, these players have been here for almost 13 hours now. You know, their exhaust is definitely probably setting in, and Rich here.
Check.
Flopping trips.
225 is the
Ron
bet.
G gonna overbet here.
C2 calls 225.
To a turn we go.
C2. Check.
Ron G now picks up
Check, check.
the gutter.
Is there something there that worries Rich?
Check.
Would cause him to check?
I mean, Rich obviously is not super happy about this particular run out, but again, you're playing heads up. This is just a call, a side call that you're going to make, especially against this sizing. About half pot.
I call. I got a 9. Call.
Yep, you see again, Rich did exactly that. He sighed and said, I don't like it, but I have to call. And the reason why is because, again, they're playing heads up. These guys could have literally anything,
Right.
especially in a limp pot. So
And that gap is getting closer.
it
Getting narrower.
is.
Oh, here comes the trophy.
Are you back there alone, Jim? Are you back there alone?
Thank you, Jim.
There we go.
Oh,
Besides the $7,000, this is what these guys are playing for. First place gets to take our 30K in a day trophy home with them.
cost 50. 7 checks his option. 50, 100.
Nope, they're on 50, 100 now. Means both players playing a little bit of, playing right around 20 big blinds.
C7 check. C2. Check. Check. C7. Check. C2. 200,000. That's 200,000. C7 fold.
And here we go. The chip counts again, like we just said. They're pretty even. Rich coming back, though. I mean, they started this, and just 20, 30 minutes ago, Ron had a commanding chip lead, little under 3.5 million.
Jack 3 makes the call. Blinds are 150 and 100. Rich is going to check it.
And Ron is just going to smash this flop here. And Rich now picks up a deuce.
That's 200. Call. C2 cost 200.
And Rich is going to call here looking for a deuce and a deuce only.
I check.
Offsuit 7.
C7 bets 350. Would be a deuce.
Can you beat a deuce?
C2 folds.
He's not going to let him see this time.
Look at this. The player's almost exactly even
Wow.
at this point now. 20 bigs.
So both of these players throughout this final table have played what I would consider very consistently. We saw other players, Hunter, for example, Carlos, were kind of up and down and up and down. But these guys have been pretty steady. I don't know that Rich was really in any trouble at any given point. And Ron, of course, came in here with the chip lead, has gotten it
225.
back and maintained it. But neither of them with really any big swings like some of the other players that we saw.
We got a single raise pot here going to a flop. 7 in the window for Rich.
300. C2 bets 300. C7 folds.
Did we just swing the other way? We have.
Rich is now in the chip lead. Both these players with plenty chips to play, though. Nobody's in the all-in or fold territory yet.
Nobody's in that panic mode yet.
T7 calls. Checks this option. Check.
225.
C7 bets 225. C2 folds.
There's the gangster.
The gangster. Looking to put the pressure on. Again, the chip count's just about even. 50K 100. Got probably 15 or so minutes until the blinds rise again.
C2. Oh. C2 calls. C7 checks.
We're going to see a flop here. 10-4 versus 5-2. There's the 10.
Check.
Couple of clubs.
150. C2 bets 150.
Rich is going to bet it.
C7 raises to 450.
Ron is going to immediately raise with top pair.
Nice one.
Rich is going to lay that down. That'll shift it again. Ron now in the lead. 2.3 million. Besides the trophy, there's some real money at stake here. First place is going to take down $7,000. This was a $300 buy-in tournament, 143 entries. We started at 12:15 today. Paid the top 17 places. And we've been live streaming this
350.
final table.
350. C7 folds.
Rich with jacks makes a big bet, but Ron has really no reason to call him, and he folds. I think that pocket jacks is the first pocket pair we've seen now for a while. And it
Yeah.
seemed that
I mean, again, part of the thing that I'm sure a player like Rich is going to notice there, you know,
C2.
all of a sudden the raise size went from 205,000, 250,000 to 350.
Yeah, Ray's coming out here with the queen jack of diamonds. Very strong hand, heads up.
C7 raised to 400. C2 folded.
Rich is going to lay that down.
These players just kind of, it's almost like watching a tennis match.
Yep.
And this is just a volley.
Exactly.
You know? It's just a,
It really is.
or a rally, excuse me.
A rally,
I mean, we're
yep.
just kind of sending it back over the net, one stroke after the other.
On your first eye.
Just kind of waiting for somebody to make an aggressive move.
C2. Rich. 350. Raised to 350.
And speaking of aggressive moves,
Oh, why not? We've waited all this time. Let's get it in with the deuce 7.
C7 calls 350.
so now we've got a very good sized pot here going to the flop.
And how about a flop? If there ever,
Wow.
you could ever imagine a flop for the deuce. Whoa. And then we're just going to go ahead and
Yeah.
rip it here.
Good flop. Thanks.
Just going to go ahead and rip it.
I didn't really want to call it. He has taken that too.
Gentlemen are battling, continuing to send small increments in either direction.
No, I'm happy to get all of them. C2. 350. Raise to 350.
Yeah, there was a part of him that wanted to, but
Well, and I mean, he would have if the raise size hadn't been as large as it was. Again, this is part of the thing you need to think about is, you know, when you see players using different raise sizings, it's telling you that's telling you information about the respective strength of their hand. You know, if you see somebody using a min raise versus maybe 2.5 times the big blind versus 3.5 to 4 times, you can kind of adjust your play accordingly. And right there, something told him, hey, a suited queen is not good here.
350. C2 races to 350. C7. Man, can't you get a hand we can get all in with?
they're both getting a little long in the tooth here.
There you go.
It's late. You know, these players, listen to them. You know, these players, they've been here for, like I said, 13, 14 hours. They've been in these seats. Fatigue starts to set in. But there's $2,000 in between.
Yes.
Difference in between these two positions. And kind of when you think about, you know, being a poker player, that's a lot of buy-ins. That's a lot of potential return that you could, future return that you could be missing out on.
Well, and it's a lot of buy-ins, and it's this experience of heads up that can be very important. Now, both of them got a piece of this.
C7 costs 200,000. C7 checks. 450. C2 bets 450. C7 folds.
But that experience of playing heads up, you know, a lot of players that will come into the tournaments that we have here, whether it's a $50 buy-in or $125 buy-in, and quite often get down to 3 or 4 players, and it gets late, so they chop, but they're missing out on that experience. And comments often made, you know, one of these days you're going to be playing for some very serious money, and you're not going to have the experience of that heads-up play. And it's not going to be a $2,000 jump from one place to another. It's going to be a $20,000 jump. I mean, so it's a guy like both of these guys who I think really
7 races to 350.
work at their game. See this as also as a vital opportunity. It's not just the $2,000, I think, for both of them. It's that opportunity to learn more about themselves and more about how to play at this level.
Yeah, look, heads up is the forum in which skill differences are most amplified, right? It is mano y mano.
Yep.
You are often in the streets. You're in there playing with cards that are relatively weak, with hands that if you were in a full ring, meaning an 8 or a 9 person table, you know, you wouldn't be thinking of calling down with, you wouldn't be thinking of making aggressive action with, but because of the nature of it's just you and one other person, you have to be comfortable with being able to kind of play in a higher volatility environment. That's also what makes it fun, though.
Yes, yes, it is.
That's 175. C2 folds.
When we had that heads-up tournament here, you know, you could just see this is a different adrenaline rush that happens when
Absolutely.
you're in that playing heads up versus playing 10 9-handed. Although the old saying is that if you find poker exciting, you might not be playing it well. Playing it right. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Blair.
Steve trying to get it just right so we can get the camera angle on that. Maybe we'll get a zoom in here quickly. Cole points out, oh, how the tables have turned. And indeed they have.
Here we go. We get the next hand underway. 500.
C2.
Or excuse me, 50K and 100K. With a 50K big blind ante.
C7 pose.
Rich continuing to add to his chip lead. Essentially, we've had a flip of the stacks.
Absolutely.
At this
Yeah.
stage.
That's a great analogy.
Rich at 3 million. Ron G at 1.3. Again, just about half hour ago. Ron G had a little over 3 million. Approaching 3.5 million. And that's part of it's the nature of the beast.
C7.
These swings can be violent. And what I appreciate about Ron is that Ron is the only person that did not want to chop earlier. Ron G made a statement that he was here to play, and he's done exactly that.
There we go. Now we've got a good shot of it.
30K, no limit, hold'em. Champion.
C2.
The Reserve Poker Club.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Looks nice.
The 100K one was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool. That went home with Selby, young player. Talk about somebody that's actually, they're actively working on their game. He keeps notes on every tournament, every cash game he plays. Taking it very seriously at a young age.
And this is really close for Rich. Again, heads up. This is probably
wow
a hand you're going to have to call, just given the presence of the ace.
Yeah. Yep.
But it is close, and it's uncomfortable for sure. Ron G saying, telling him I thought maybe that was the one. I thought maybe somebody was about to be getting up.
Yeah. Jim Johnson wants it just right. Get that right.
Get a little
light and color on there so we can see it even that much better.
E2 checks.
And here we go. Spades against spades, and 2 spades come out.
Here we go.
Wow.
225. That's 225.
I wonder if Ron G opts to raise here. He's open-ended with higher spades. He's going to opt to just proceed with a call. Jack on the turn.
500. That's 500,000.
Let's see what Ron G wants to do here.
All in, he says.
He's going to go ahead and get it in here.
Call. Call.
And Rich is going to call. And here we go.
Flush draw.
Wow.
Ugh.
We're not a gooder.
I'll take a 9.
So what are we looking for as Rich here? We're looking for either a 9 or a 5. 9 or a 5. This is a massive pot here.
Jeez.
1.57.
We are either going to be crowning Rich the champion, or Ron G is about to take a commanding chip lead here.
70 more. 9's good.
Here we go.
6 outs, basically.
Off to a river we go. Jonathan's going to get us all situated here. The king on the river. 10 high is going to play.
Wow.
Ron G is going to take it down. Ron G back to a commanding chip lead.
Holy cow.
How the tables turn and turn and turn. And that is some sickness.
It's a sea of chips now.
Ron G is going to be happy to be picking up some chips.
There it is.
It's always a
clear. The reserve poker room. 30,000 no limit hold'em champion. November 12th, 2022.
The man's going to get it in here. And Ron's going to have a call with a suited ace.
Yes, sir.
Ron's going to have an easy call.
Yeah,
I mean,
usually
you have a
when Ron-
suited ace, it's 5 big blinds, 6 big blinds.
I've dealt enough to Ron to know that when he asks for a count, it's usually followed by a call.
What have I got in with?
You're in for 100.
Alright, that's fine.
So he's gonna.
So I owe what?
415 more if you want to call.
Stack's a little off. It's going to be just over 400. He does indeed call, and here we go.
Yeah.
Riches.
Wow.
All in and at risk. The suited 6-9. Against the ace deuce of diamonds.
This could be it. There's the trophy.
And here we go. The trophy in the background. Is it going to Ranji? 2 clubs.
Oh, 2 clubs.
6, 9, or club. 9.
Oh,
Oh,
my
but a
goodness.
diamond. No, Rich takes it down.
Wow.
Life.
Two wins the pot.
Crazy shift.
Crazy shift is right.
Right.
I can't roll this.
Shift back and
Call
forth,
it.
yeah.
Back
Nah, I
and
don't
forth,
think
back
I-
and forth.
Both have good hands. Ours starting to both keep good hands. Same thing.
And for all that excitement,
Ron, you be first stack.
Rich back in a good spot.
I call.
Call. C2.
Rich back at 11 big blinds.
Call it. C2 is all.
He's just going to get it in here.
C7 fold.
Ron with an easy fold.
You're a big blind now, sir. C2.
All
Ace
in.
of 350.
I'm all in.
All in. I call. Call.
And here we go.
Whoa. Deuces, Jack.
It's
six.
out the window now, ladies
Yep.
and gentlemen.
This
It's time
could-
to get it in.
Could be another big swing.
Deuces versus Jack 6.
Wow.
Rich, all in and at risk. Looking for a jack.
Jonathan doing a
Six
great
or some
job here, getting the
spades.
pot right.
1,180,000.
Better probably do them anyway, 'cause you won't take them. Five. Huh? 5K.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. all in and at risk. Rich K. Jack 6 against the pocket deuces of Ron. No Jacker 6 on that board. Oh, and a 6, but diamond's working for Ron. Oh, and a diamond on the river, and Ron seals the deal.
My goodness.
Ron
Wow.
G taking it down. He started off this last little bit here with an absolute commanding chip lead. Was kind of taken back down into that danger zone, but then worked his way back upward. Ultimately sealed the deal against Rich. A great game to all.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Great day. What a fantastic day.
A great day. It was a great
Fantastic.
tournament. Again, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to the staff, all the dealers, Jim, Marissa, Steve for putting it on. And from us in the commentary booth, I'm Max.
I'm Vic.
And we thank you guys so much. Vic, it was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
so
guys
much.
for tuning in. And like I said earlier, the live stream will get going 3 times a week starting, I think in 2 weeks is what they said. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll continue to put on great streams for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, and thank you to all for who came out for the 30K in a day event here at the Reserve.
Thanks again. Be well, everybody.